You're tuned into the Flare Up Podcast.
It's the Flare Up Podcast. Grab your drink, sit down, and watch. You're gonna have a blast. The Flare Up Podcast in the high desert with your hosts Frankie, Joseph, Brian.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the 34th episode of the Flare Up Podcast. You have me, Frankie.
Me, Joseph.
Me, Brian.
And today
is the 20th, 10/20.
10/20. So what happened on this day, 10/20 in the past?
What did happen?
Little featured event. The opening of the Sydney Opera House. Australia's Sydney Opera House, designed by Danish architect Bjorn Utzon, whose dynamic, imaginative, but problematic plan won an international competition in 1957, was opened by Queen Elizabeth II on this day in 1973. Queen Elizabeth? That
Damn.
bitch was in charge of Australia too?
Yeah, fool. It used to be Australia.
That's where they sent all the prisoners,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I figured by this point, like, they didn't care about that bitch no more.
I mean, I guess they're still considered, I don't even know, fool, because they're English people regardless.
They're the drunk English people, though.
Yeah, they're the criminals.
You know, that's really where that accent came from?
Them being drunk.
Them being drunk. That's not even a meme. That's like for real.
That's sick.
Damn. But doesn't New Zealand kind of have a similar accent to Australia? Or no?
Yeah.
They do, huh?
They're
I'm
kind
pretty sure
of.
they have like different slang.
Yeah, they say sick as. Or yes, no, or no, yes.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Yes, no means no, and no, yes means yes.
Interesting. Sick ass
Fucking
dialects.
Kiwis, fool.
Kiwis is
And we got a couple of birthdays. We got Snoop Doggy Dogg. It's his birthday. His birthday was his birth date was in 1971. And Tom Petty, born in 1950.
R.I.P.
Oh shit, R.I.P. Mr. Tom Petty.
So we got a couple more.
My last dance with Mary Jane.
Sick ass fool.
Yeah, fool.
1977. I would get you some more lyrics, but I drew a blank full. All right, so in 1977, a plane carrying the southern rock band Lynyrd Skynyrd, known for such songs as Freebird and Sweet Home Alabama, crashed in Galesburg, Mississippi, killing singer Ronnie Van Zant and guitarist Steve Gaines, among others. So, Florida boys, dude. These Florida boys.
Damn,
It
bro.
literally killed
Poor.
all of them almost.
Yeah.
It did, and then his brother took over. No, he started singing.
I thought it was his cousin.
Is it his cousin?
It was some shit like that.
Well, it's his family at least.
It was one of his family. It was like a Van Zant. Yeah.
It's family, brother. It's family.
I heard that the first guy, like, he was like super straight edge.
Oh, really?
And then the new guy that came in
He
was
was
all
drunk?
like drunk and fucking partying and shit.
Damn.
How could you not with Lynyrd Skynyrd? You
Hell
know
yeah.
the crowds that are out there. Shit.
yeah.
1973. During the ongoing Watergate investigation, U.S. President Richard Nixon ordered Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox fired, resulting in resignations of Attorney General Elliot Richardson and Deputy Attorney General William D. Ruckelshaus, both of whom refused to carry out his request. The events came known as Saturday Night Massacre of Justice Department officials.
Damn.
That fool said, "I'm gonna fire
Tricky
you off."
dicky food. Tricky dicky
Tricky
food.
dicky, fool. Former U.S. President Herbert Hoover died in New York City, 1964. 1931, American baseball player Mickey Mantle, who was one of the game's greatest players, was known for his tremendous power as a switch hitter, was born. And we had one more right here. The U.S. state, after due consideration and considerable oratory, ratified the Louisiana Purchase. That Louisiana Purchase going to buy us a lot of land right there for the Quakers that moved over from the Queens. I guess it was from the King, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no Queen back
1803
then.
fool.
Damn, well, they said, we going to buy some land. And that's it.
You know
Yeah,
how much we
that's
bought it for?
Wasn't it super cheap?
Yeah.
It's like cheap as hell, fool. Cheap
The
as
same
hell.
thing when we bought Alaska.
Oh yeah, we bought from the Russians.
From the Russia?
Ooh.
Damn, the Russians were dumb to sell that one.
I know, dude.
It always weirded me out how Russia's like, how Alaska's like not even connected to the U.S. Well, I mean, it's connected, but it's Canada in between, and then it's Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't even like drive there with you. They won't let you through fucking Canada if you have too many parking tickets.
If you have a DUI, they won't let you.
They won't let you in for shit. Imagine you just trying to
Damn.
drive to Alaska.
Okay, man.
They're all, you can't come through,
You gotta fly, eh? You gotta fly.
You gotta take a boaty,
I want to go to
Imagine
Canada.
fool.
Canada sounds
Fuck yeah,
nice.
and then you get in trouble for calling somebody a sir on accident.
I
prison
know,
for-
right? They're like, hey, man.
You misgendered me.
Stay away. sick ass fool. So today we're gonna be talking about
Creepy pasta.
or we were trying to look for scary stuff on on Reddit, but we couldn't find that much good stories unless we weren't looking good enough. But like, fuck it, let's just do a creepypasta. Why not, right?
We got some creepy
Yeah,
pastas here.
creepypasta. Who doesn't like creepypasta, man?
So
Who does not like creepypasta?
sit back and prepare for the scare.
Shout out to the couch.
Shout out to
Shout out to the couch. El Sion, we.
All right, open up the Wikipedia, fool.
All right, fool, calm down, fool. No, yell at me.
All right, so Lavender Town, Japanese is spelled in Japanese. I can't do that shit, so I'll say Lavender Townu. It's a fictional village in the 1996
So, hold
video.
on.
What?
Before you start, you didn't say what you were talking about.
Oh, we're talking about Lavender Town Syndrome.
That's the story or the creepypasta.
That's the creepypasta, Lavender
Yeah,
Town
there we go.
Syndrome. All right, so well, I'll just restart. Lavender Townu is a fictional village in the 1996 video game Pokemon Red and Blue, stylized as a haunted location. Lavender Town is home of the Pokemon Tower, a burial ground for deceased Pokemon and a location to find ghost-type Pokemon. The background music of Lavender Town is renowned for adding the towns to the damn.
Damn, fool.
The background music of Lavender Town is renowned for adding to the town's creepy atmosphere. In the 2010s, it gave rise to the Lavender Town Syndrome creepypasta, a fictional story about hundreds of Japanese children dying by suicide after listening to the track from high-pitched tones that only they could hear. Lavender Town has become well known for the variety of creepypastas associated with it, which has been subject of analysis. In the games, Lavender Town is a village that can be visited in Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow, and sequels Gold, Silver, Crystal, and the remakes thereof. A departure of the typical joyous tone of Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow, it is home to the Pokemon Tower, a graveyard filled with mourning trainers and hundreds of tombstones for deceased Pokemon. Damn, that's just like that Stephen King movie, the Pet Cemetery.
Damn, bro.
Damn.
So it makes you wonder, bro. Is this like when the Pokemon's like when they die from age, or they die from the battles that they were having? You know, every time they have battles and shit.
Oh, that's the thing, is like when you're playing the games, they never really die; they faint.
Yeah, they faint. Then
But
they
I guess they just get old. You know what's pretty creepy? Like one of the Pokemon you find in there is not even a ghost type. He's like a normal type. His name is Cubone.
Oh yeah,
So
I've seen
he
people-
has a skull,
He
right?
wears the little
Yeah,
skull, but you
yeah.
know whose skull that is? That's his mother's skull.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the
damn.
skull of his mom.
Oh shit.
That's a little creepy thing already in the game.
Yeah.
So there are playable characters. There the player character can come across Go-type Pokemon, Ghastly, and Haunter. The tower is the only place where they're available for capture. During the story Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow, the player will utilize the item the Sliff Scope to deal with and view Ghost-type Pokemon, which is searching for its orphaned Cubone. Yeah, see, so that the spirit.
Mhm.
That's the thing with the ghost types of that game, is that they're supposedly the spirits of the Pokemon.
Okay,
So-
okay.
Little part.
Mm-hmm.
During the story Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow, the player will... Oh, I already read that part.
Yeah.
The village is haunted by the spirit of dead Marowak. So Marowak's the mom to Cubone.
shit.
Okay.
And then
Murdered...
Where's his skull?
Yeah, dude. Murdered by villainous Team Rocket. Whoa, they got murdered?
Damn, bro. Shit.
Fuck Team Rocket.
Savages. Yeah, fucking bastards.
Oh, that red hair bitch.
Yeah, and that
and that blue hair
fucking
bitch
dead-
and that shitty little cat.
Yeah, hell, exactly, bro. Bastards.
Which is searching for its orphan Cubone. The story is explained in the remake Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which expands on the focus placed upon the plotline by having the player assist Marowak's child Cubone in reuniting with it. Lavender Town is the player's first encounter with the concept of Pokemon dying, and is one of the few towns in the Kanto region not to feature a gym. The Pokemon Tower was replaced by the Kanto Radio Tower in Pokemon Gold and Silver, although a smaller burial site called the House of Memories is now present. The Pokemon Tower appears in the episode Tower of Terror in the 23rd episode of the first season of the Pokemon anime series, when Ash, Misty, and Brock search for Ghost-type Pokemon for the gym battle against Sabrina. Lavender Town also appears in Pokemon Adventures and the Electric Tale of Pikachu manga series. Lavender Town additionally features in Pokemon Origin's second episode, which focuses on retelling Cubone and Marowak's subplot of the games.
Hey, isn't Sabrina that bitch from that fucking the Team Rocket?
No. Is she?
I feel like it is, bro. Isn't it?
I think she's no,
look it
she's
up.
not. She's not.
No, she's not. Okay.
No, she's not. Sabrina is she's just like some little girl that I remember in the episode. The episode's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Because they were going to go fight her for the gym battle,
Yeah.
but they got like captured and turned into dolls.
Oh shit.
They were little like fucking what are the little voodoo dolls? Fool?
She's a psychic Pokemon. She became out in debuting in Pocket Monsters Red and Pocket Monsters Green.
Sick.
I don't know if that explains anything.
No, but she it was funny because like she captured Brock and Misty and turned them into dolls, and then Ash got like teleported by her dad, and her dad was like the only one that knew how to defeat her, so he had to go like get trained by him and shit.
Damn, brother. We'll go straight to the story now.
Yeah, keep it right there. No, keep going down.
Okay.
All right, I'll just read right there. In the Pokemon Gold, Silver, go down a little bit. Gold and Silver and Crystal versions, in their remakes Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the Lavender Town theme music was recomposed to a happier tone as per the game's storyline. The Pokemon Tower was demolished and replaced with the Kanto Radio Tower. It was later remixed again for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. It was re-recorded as Lavender Night for the Pokemon Go Halloween events in 2017. It was later used in the song Ghost Dive by Polkadot Stingray as part of Project Voltage, a collaboration between Pokemon and Vocaloid that took place starting in 2023.
What the
Yeah,
hell is Vocaloid?
Shit.
No clue, but they're sick. They remixed the
Did
song.
you guys ever collect Pokemon cards?
I had a gang of them. Yeah, I had a gang of
I
them.
was little too, yeah. I used
I had
to
a
collect them.
whole bunch and a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
There was this one time I went to me and my grandma, we'd always go to fucking yard sales. Every weekend we just go drive the neighborhood, see what we could find.
Yeah.
And we came across this one binder, and we opened up the binder, a little zipper case, and the whole thing was like the 3-ring binder,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was zip closed, and I
Uh-huh.
opened it up, and that shit was full of Pokemon cards.
Damn.
I still have that binder. I should see if I can find that shit.
You should see how much you could sell them for, dude.
They're probably worth. I'm sure there's a gang of cards that ain't worth shit in there.
But some of them are
There's
fun.
got to be some cool shit in there.
There
Yeah.
has to be a little golden little ticket one, you know?
I'll be like Willy Wonka, fool.
Yeah,
Well, you're probably rich, fool.
dog.
I might be. That shit is just sitting there,
Shit,
fool.
Hell yeah, fool.
Alright, so Lavender Town Syndrome creepypastas. In the early 2010s, an urban legend claimed that hundreds of Japanese children had committed suicide in 1990s, or seppuku, as a result of the music in the game, speculating that binaural beats and high-pitched tones only audible to children caused headaches and erratic behavior that led to their deaths, with other recorded side effects including insomnia, violent behavior, and brain hemorrhaging. A fabricated illness was dubbed Lavender Town Syndrome, with the phenomenon also being referred to as Lavender Town Tone, Lavender Town Conspiracy, and Lavender Town Suicides. And the original story went viral after a creepypasta version of the story was spread on websites such as 4chan. Various people have added details to make the story more convincing over time, such as photoshopping images of ghosts and the Pokemon Unknown, a species of Pokemon resembling the alphabet, which are used to spell Leave Now, into the spectrogram outputs of Lavender Town music. It also claimed that the song was quietly changed for international releases of the games. Certain versions claim that the game director Satoshi Tajiri wanted the tone in the game to annoy children instead of cause harm, while others claim Nintendo was in collaboration with the Japanese government. Damn, imagine
what the
a Japanese psyop against the kids.
Fuck.
Crazy. That reminds me of there's this town or like city in the U.S.
Yeah.
where for some reason the way the mountains are set up and the hills and something, it creates a noise. I think, and it was basically, I'm pretty sure, I forgot where I read it or heard it, and it creates a certain tone and people start going crazy from it.
You know, I think I was watching a video about that. They say it has to do shit with like the pipelines that go through and shit.
Yeah, it was something weird like
probably
that.
Makes sense. The pipelines
Yeah.
are probably like it's probably in a valley too. Think about it. There's always wind going
Yeah,
through that area.
and there was like a certain tone that people start going crazy and they start like, I think some.
You know what, too? It's probably a lot of wind, too, how Brian just said. Because
Yeah.
if I'll be at the house sometimes, and you hear the wind come through, and it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
that shit makes weird-ass sounds.
That's
So,
true, bro.
I guess that could be it, too, huh?
Yeah, fool. Shit, then to kill yourself? Nah.
Nah. Other creepypastas carried links to the Lavender Town Syndrome. The creepypasta Lavender Town and Pokemon 731 linked the syndrome to a Pokemon programmer attempting to brainwash children for military purposes.
Oh shit.
They're like fucking on The Simpsons when they're going to the Navy.
Yeah.
But it's like Navy backward Eva Epniage.
What the fuck?
That means join the Navy, fool.
What the fuck? Shit.
only for the process to fail, resulting in the children's suicide. It also featured an unofficial Pokemon species titled Pokemon 731, which appeared in corrupted cartridges of the game. Pokemon 731 would later go to inspire other fans' creations associated with Lavender Town. Examples included Buried Alive and Half Buried Zombie that supposedly was scrapped for Final Challenge for the Pokemon Tower area. The White Hand, a highly detailed decaying hand that would cause those who viewed it to become violently ill, and the animation Haunting.swf. These were meant to be representative of 731 and some later creepypastas that would merge the three together into a single story. Other creepypastas gave varying fictitious accounts about the syndrome, with one linking it to Satoshi Tajiri's childhood traumas, while another depicted composer attempting to recreate the original Lavender Town melody after dying after completing it.
Oh shit.
The spread of Lavender Town syndrome is believed to be due to its association with the Deno Seneshi Porygon incident, the episode that resulted in many children across Japan suffering from seizures, and its correlation with Lavender Town syndrome's events being considered to have providing grounding for the creepypastas. Real quick about that Porygon thing.
Yeah.
That's an actual like banned episode because there was so many flashing lights and shit in the episode. There was
Like, cause seizures?
there was another thing on The
shit.
Simpsons where they went to Japan and they were watching the TV and the robots started flashing lights and shit and they all started having seizures on the floor.
Shit.
That's kind of the same shit. Patricia Hernandez of Kotaku also stated that the incident supposedly taking place in Japan would have required fact-checking that would have required a proficiency in Japanese, allowing the incident to be difficult to verify and thus more realistic. The paper Lavender Town Syndrome, Creepypasta, a rational narration of the supernatural, described the creepypastas as being used to re-enchant the games for older fans of the series who had grown up with the original game. The corruption of this childhood aspect is used in order to convey an element of horror in the story. The various creepypastas attempts to rationalize their supernatural phenomenon via the usage of mix of fake and real documentation was additionally cited as adding a layer of realism to the stories, making them more convincing and engaging for those interacting with the stories, while also building the creepypasta's mythical aspects. Mark Hill of Killscreen additionally stated that the ability for fans of the creepypasta to be able to add their own variations to the tale aided in its spread, as it allowed the story to be retold in a variety of different fashions.
Damn.
So real quick, we'll go to the story now.
Oh, for sure, brother.
If you guys gotta hear the song, it's super creepy. It's like doot 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 doot. It's real slow, and then like all the towns are super minor. All the tones are real like minor tones.
Yeah.
It's a real like somber song. It is pretty creepy. So let's go and read the story now. So Lavender Town Syndrome, also known as Lavender Town Tone or Lavender Town Suicides, was a peak in suicides and illness of children between the ages of 7 and 12, shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan back in February 27, 1996.
The year I was born, dog. Shit.
Ah, sick.
You too?
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, shit. 1996.
It's about the 95 fool.
Shut up, bitch. Oh, fuck you.
Rumors say that the suicides and illnesses only occurred after the children playing the game reached Lavender Town, whose theme music had extremely high frequencies that studies showed the only children and young teens can hear since their ears are more sensitive. Due to the Lavender... Oh, damn, an ad popped up?
Damn,
Yeah,
bastard,
yeah,
dude.
Keep going down, fool.
I know, dude. Fucking
Right there.
pop.
Due to the Lavender Tone, at least 200 children supposedly committed suicide, and many more developed illness and afflictions. The children who committed suicide usually did so by hanging or jumping from heights. Those who did not act irrationally complained of severe headaches after listening to the Lavender Town's theme.
Damn, bro. And what, Japan's like always known like for a lot of skyscrapers and shit, huh?
Oh, they're jumping
Like,
off the top, fool. They
fuck
gotta
yeah,
put nets
fool.
like at the Foxconn building in China.
Yeah, right? Because that is true, huh? Like Japan's like very more like city like, huh? Like, it's a
They're
bunch
super
of-
city like, yeah.
Yeah, like there's all.
Obviously,
like,
they have the
high
little
towers.
countryside and shit.
Yeah,
but
of course, but oh shit, damn. But you think the country folks will be playing? This
they're not playing no
Pokemon?
games exactly.
Yeah,
fool,
exactly.
so they're right here in the city, fool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although Lavender Town now sounds differently depending on the game, the mass hysteria was caused by the first Pokemon game released. After Lavender Town incident, the programmers had fixed Lavender Town's theme music to be at a lower frequency, and since then, the children were no longer affected by it.
Damn.
One video appeared in 2010 using special software to analyze the audio of Lavender Town's music. When played, the software created images of the unknown near the end of the audio. This raised a controversy since the unknown didn't appear until Generation 2 games, Silver, Gold, and Crystal. The unknown translate to leave now.
Damn,
So that's what's
popped up.
That's also creepy. I remember one of the first game that I ever played, the Pokemon games, was Pokemon Fire Red,
Yeah.
and that's like the remake of these original games
Oh, really?
for the Game Boy Advance.
Mhm.
So I remember you get to the end of the game, and you like they have these islands that you travel to,
Yeah.
and then on certain islands you go and you pick up those Pokemon unknown.
Uh-huh.
And these Pokemon, they only know like one attack. They're like very super basic Pokemon,
Yeah.
but they're all shaped like letters. And they like if you there's certain little lore in the game where you'll see like I guess kind of like cave paintings where they'll be on the walls and shit and they spell shit out, dude. It's kind of creepy.
What
Oh, that
the
is
hell?
creepy.
Imagine you're over here like breaking down the codes and shit, writing it down.
And it says big booty bitches. There was also the said beta version of Lavender Town. It is said that the beta version of Pocket Monsters was released to some kids to test the games. This is a video of the beta version of Lavender Town, and then a fake video, fool. There's a video right there. That's just gonna play like the original music, fool.
Yeah, for real. I'll probably show us to YouTube if you click on it.
Yeah, it will.
All right, cool.
Damn.
And, is that it?
That's it.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
fool.
it. But
Yeah, fool.
I mean, there's all those. I wonder how true it is about if there was any kids that were actually committing suicide.
Maybe not. Maybe there was like a couple incidents where it was like a little crazy.
Maybe there was some incidents where kids had died or like they fell off of the balcony or some shit.
While they were playing.
Yeah.
Like while they were playing, but it might not have actual correlation. The only
Yeah.
correlation is that they were
They're
playing the
it,
game.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. It was a little creepy story. I always fucking thought of.
Oh, yeah, bro, it's just creepy as fuck, fool.
I remember for a
It's like
while I would
subliminal
fucking.
messages
I
and
would
shit.
listen. I would listen to the song and be like, "Do I hear it? Am I going crazy?" Or am I not?
And then you start going crazy.
I'm all.
Yeah. Yeah. Shaking it, going, getting all this fucking autism and shit.
Damn, I'll be
Hell,
crazy.
fool.
Getting my flare up, fool.
Fuck yeah, fool. Then next we got our boy Frick. You're talking about some bitch. I mean witch.
Dang.
You're gonna have to change it now. It's gonna be the Rock saying, "Shut up, witch."
Shut up, witch.
So this creepypasta is actually based on a true story.
Damn.
I guess I don't know where to start. The beginning would be the obvious place, but I don't know what the beginning was. The whispers, the shadows, objects moving by themselves, electronics going haywire, or was it the first time I actually saw it? Soulless pits for eyes and featureless paper white face. I'm sure jumping right into "there's a monster in my closet" would be a bit of a cliche. I always knew it was there before it ever showed itself to me. The first time I really knew was Christmas Eve of 2010. I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time. He had taken me home early from a dinner at a friend's house because I was feeling ill. Naturally, I went straight to bed and he stayed up, deciding to play his video games. Damn, he was playing Lavender Town, fool.
Nah, fool, that's 2010. That fool
fool.
was on Black Ops, fool.
Shit, dude.
I don't remember when I fell asleep or how long I had been out before I woke up. All I remember was how I woke up. My memory of waking up is crystal clear even now. While remaining consciousness, I remember an unnatural cold in the room. Yes, I realized it was December, but Arizona never gets that cold. I remember feeling freezing cold hands brush against my bare arms before the duvet on my bed was pulled over my body. I hadn't opened my eyes until then, and I thought I saw my ex-boyfriend standing at the edge of my bed. My vision was still blurry, so I called out his name with a yawn, blinking to clear my eyes of sleep.
Imagine that fool like rubbing one off as you were sleeping.
You was getting creeped?
Yeah, you're shit, dude. And
In a fraction of a second, the shadow I thought I saw was gone. I was ready to forget the whole thing and go back to sleep, so I turned over onto my side, now facing the opposite side of my room. If I had already closed my eyes, I wouldn't have noticed the face sharing my pillow. Oh, it was so
Damn.
close to me, the pale white and almost glowing face with empty coal black sockets for eyes, that my nose almost touched it. With an immediate jerk back, I nearly flung myself over the side of my bed. I would have screamed if my dinner hadn't beaten my voice out of my mouth. Wait, what the hell?
damn, how the fuck
What kind of dinner
yeah.
she eating, fool?
Like, damn, fool.
Cock meat sandwich, fool.
Hey, she's probably, dude. Probably her man was like giving her like
Arsenic,
like,
fool?
no, it's just like fucking like skull fucking her and shit. She didn't notice.
Cock me sandwich, fool.
Yeah, dog.
I bet right now she wishes she. Damn, I can't say wishes. I bet right now she wishes she was Hank Jr. Fool. That heaven can't be found. I looked over at my pillow, but your face wasn't there. But she saw a face, fool.
Hell yeah, fuck that.
Regardless, my ex had burst into my rooms moments
he
later
busted.
to witness
Bust.
me vomiting all over myself
see?
and my bed. Needless to say, he was pretty mad at me since he was staying over for the holidays at my mom's house, and he had to sleep in that very same bed with me.
Yeah, I would have been pissed too. If I was like, damn, bitch, you should tell me when to pull up.
I
So
said
you
no
gonna
teeth.
sleep on the couch, fool?
Yeah,
Damn.
fool, shit. You gotta
Or
sleep
in
on
his
the floor.
car? I didn't know how to explain what just happened or what I seen, so I stayed quiet. There was no further trace of the ghastly
Yeah.
face in my room that night. I didn't see anything for a while after that either, not even the shadows or subtle moments in the corner of my eyes.
Damn, brother.
It must have been spring the next time it appeared. It was after high school one day, and my ex and I were arguing about what I can't remember. The only reason I remember the fight was because it was the first time he had ever hit me.
Damn, fool.
It's funny that I don't remember that exact context, but I remember locking myself in my bathroom and crying in the dark. I also remember a sharp, distinct tapping, thinking it was my boyfriend trying to apologize. I yelled for him to go away. I didn't get an answer, just more introverted tapping. Interval tapping like a sharp fingernail on the thin wood of my bathroom door. I could see the shadow of someone standing on the other side, breaking the only light that was flowing into the bathroom from under the door.
Damn, brother.
Dang.
That's kind of creepy, fool.
Is this a domestic violence story?
Yeah, no, dude.
Not really a creepy
Domestic
pasta.
violence.
He is the pasty white face, fool.
Yeah, dude. He's like,
I
That fool
called
works
his
inside, dude.
I called his name, no longer angry, no longer crying. Now I felt wrong, sick almost, and very nervous. When the tapping stopped, I stared at the shadow underneath the door, watching it stay still. Feeling anxious now, I slowly laid myself on the floor. I moved to look underneath the door, expecting to see the toes of my boyfriend's boots. Instead, I was met with a large and possibly deep eye socket and a smooth, white, and featureless face, the same face from Christmas, just staring at me with the phantom eyes.
fuck, fool.
Dang.
It just pops up.
Eyes, damn.
So, yeah, that's fucking creepy, fool.
Doing a smile like Art the Clown, fool. That fool's all.
Hell yeah, fool.
That was sick, fool.
Fucking art.
This time I was able to scream, and I screamed as loud as I could. My ex-boyfriend's name broke as it flew from my throat with a shrillness that was comparable only to nails on a chalkboard. The bathroom instantly began to shake with loud bangs instead of the quiet tapping. I was afraid that the door would burst off its hinges, so I wedged myself between the bathroom sink and toilet with my hands over my ears and my eyes shut tight.
Bust.
Damn.
It felt like an eternity before my ex-boyfriend finally came to get me. This time I couldn't hide what happened. How do you explain screaming at the top of your lungs for no reason? So I told him. I even told him about Christmas. I was surprised when he believed me, no questions asked, and even more shocked when he seemed to recognize my description of the awful face. His younger sister, who was my age, would apparently wake up to a white face floating under her covers, weighing her bedsheets like a cloak.
To low key, I feel like the guy's like, I believe you. Just don't call the cops that I hit you.
yeah, I believe you. I'll
I
kiss
believe
your
you,
feet.
babe.
I'll kiss your feet.
Yeah, I kiss feet.
He also told me later that their late mother was gifted, as he called it, and it was passed on to them. He believed it may have followed him to my house, so I had my ex to thank for that thing. Damn, so he's beating him and freaking
Giving her the fucking
paranormal
dose?
activity?
Damn, that's worse than an STD, fool.
for real.
Gave her a
shit.
ghost, fool.
Gave her a fucking demon.
Fucking A, dude.
So I had my ex to thank for that thing. And then he gave me what I thought was some pretty psycho advice at the time. Talk to it. He wanted me to speak to that thing, that horrible face.
What the fuck?
It was almost a week before I saw it again. It was a school night, and I had gotten home late from my job at a restaurant. All I wanted to do was kick off my shoes and fall asleep. The second I laid down, my eyes were drawn to it like magnets. It was hovering in the top corner of my open closet, the face nearly glowing to distinguish itself from the dark in my room. I was frozen in fear, clutching the covers of my bed tightly to my chest as my wide eyes started into the cavernous pits of the ghastly face.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. There was no way I was going to try to talk to this thing, so all I could do was stare back, frightened and half hiding underneath the covers of my bed. After an eternity and a half, the white face faded as it sunk back into my closet, and I no longer had a clear sight of it.
Oh, shit took off.
The next day at school was one of the worst I ever had. I felt even worse than I looked dead. I couldn't focus in my classes. I felt amazed by the time my last class ended that I had made it through the day. I remember the second I was out of my classroom, my phone was up to my ear calling my ex-boyfriend. I had wanted him to pick me up so I didn't have to walk home. I never wanted to go back there. However, he was out getting high with his friends who disliked me.
I was gonna pick up my girl,
Shit.
but then I got high.
Exactly.
Who disliked me for being a prude, and they convinced him not to come and get me. Damn, this guy sounds like a piece of shit, bro.
Yeah, fool.
Gave her a ghost, beat her, and didn't pick her ass up, fool.
Hell yeah, fool. Cause he got high, fool. I
I tried convincing him in my favor, but he still refused. Even after I told him about what happened last night, he just told me the same thing that he did before and said, talk to it, ask what it wants.
Motherfucker, it makes him wonder. Did the ghost approach him too, and he asked him what he wanted? The ghost just ignored him, or what?
That fool said a blowjob.
Fucking a sexual favor? Oh shit!
You guys want another one?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Before we get more into it.
Mm-hmm.
Get one down, pass it around.
Thanks, sir.
All
Drinking some AleSmith Brewing Company IPA, non-alcoholic brew. Pretty good.
That's pretty bomb.
Real quick, how's Sober October going?
Good.
That temptation is deadly, brother.
Mhm.
The temptation is super there, but
It's okay.
I'm
We're
cool.
making it through.
We're cool. We're
We
cool.
got this.
We got one more week? Or a
One
couple
more
more
week.
weeks? Like a week and a
we
half?
got like 10 days. What's today actually?
Today
We have
is
11 days.
20th.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Very
we
nice.
got it. All right, let's get back to the story.
Let's go.
He told me to have a damned conversation with the thing in my closet. That was all the advice I had, however. I didn't think to ask or trust telling anybody else. Asking for help was out of the question. That night when I finally mustered up to the courage to go to my bed, I was relieved to apparently to be alone in the room. I couldn't quite bring myself to close my closet door either. I'm not sure if I actually fell asleep or if I just blinked, but I couldn't take my eyes off my open closet the entire night.
Well, get up and close your shit.
I know, for real.
Shit.
With that brief closing of my eyes, it appeared. In an instant, I was wide awake and very frightened. With our staring match, my eyes getting lost in its soulless pits, I did the only thing I knew to do. Hi, I was able to squeak, half of my face covered by my blankets. For the next terrifying moments, I was afraid the face would respond to me. The response thankfully never came, and the room stayed silent, save for my quickened breath. The question I had for it came out a bit louder. What do you want?
Damn, bro. Low-key, bro, like, imagine just sleeping in your room. Like, low-key, I remember when I was younger, I think I watched a scary movie, and I remember I was kind of scared to go to sleep, and my parents, I think they went somewhere, it was just me, my older brother, and I remember I was trying to go to sleep, right? and I remember like I was kind of like scared because I watched a scary movie. And dude, I literally fell asleep with one eye open, fool.
What the hell?
Like
You
yeah,
like
'cause
that one
I was
rapper in
like
fucking
this.
Britain?
I was like this, and I remember when I woke up because my parents got home, right?
It was all watery.
No, it was all red, fool.
Oh
Yeah, dude.
You said one
was
eye
all lazy,
open when
fool?
I'm sleeping.
Yeah, dude. Like I never knew that was a false.
Hey, what
possible.
scary movie was it, fool?
I think
You
it was The
remember?
Exorcist, bro.
Oh shit!
Damn,
The
the
OG one?
scariest movie of scary movies, fool.
Bro. Yeah, dude. Like that one, that low key when I was little, the Exorcist was like the one that fucking like. Literally,
Did it
I'd
for
be
you?
scared. If the lights are off, I'll fucking run, dude. I'll run through the hallways. Say,
Oh, okay.
if I had to go to the kitchen,
He
and
still do
then
that
I'd
shit
go
now.
water, and once I get to once I had to go to my room, you know, you have to turn off the lights, right? Because it's
Yeah.
already darker. When there's like sleep and shit, I just fucking take off, dude. Like I feel like someone's like right behind me, fucking
You
chasing
slip?
me, and shit.
You know what my strategy was? I'd have the lights on. I'm looking where I gotta go. Then I can stand far from the switch, and then I go.
And then just
"Pow!"
give
Just
yourself
let
a little
go.
head start.
Hit the switch and go full.
Yeah, dude.
No, dude, my thing was when
just-
I was little, and even now it freaks me out. I remember the day we were watching a movie. I don't even know if it was a scary movie, it was just a movie.
Yeah.
But I remember waking up in my couch, and then nobody was there, and the credits were still going, and I
That's
fucking
creepy
freaked
alone,
out,
dude.
and I was like, "Where the fuck's my dad? Where's my mom?" Like, and back then I was smaller, so my dad would normally put me in my bed. But now when I watch movies and I see credits, it like gives me a little PTSD.
Little trigger, dude.
Fuck.
Little
Yeah,
trigger.
because hey, there'll be times like when you fall asleep, huh? You fall asleep watching a movie in the living room, and like everything's all turned off. Like what the fuck? I didn't. Turn
Yeah,
this shit
that's how
off.
it was. It was
Okay, so for me, when that happens, dude, that shit scares the fuck out of me, dude. Cause like you
even
said,
now.
like, now, no, it's whatever's. But when I
Oh.
remember when I was little, like I remember just like I remember I would wake up because you fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
Your parents turn off the TV. And like when you wake up, you're like, what the fuck's all dark? You're all, oh, what the fuck? It feels weird, bro. It feels
You're
like
all alone?
Like it feels like not normal. Like oh
Yeah.
shit, do I just take off running to my fucking room, dog?
You see, for me, it was that case, but the TV was just on and the fucking credits
Okay.
were going, but I didn't see nobody around. The lights were all off. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
So now I'm all PTSD'd out from that.
They said, "Nah, leave him there. Let him suffer."
Mm-hmm.
Is that where it goes?
Yep.
I never got an answer. The face would never stay long, and it would do nothing but stare at me. I don't want to say that I actually got used to seeing the face, but it stopped staring at me. It even got to the point of me telling it goodnight before I turned my back to the closet so I could fall asleep. Back then, it never appeared outside of the closet, and it would only show up at the night while I was falling asleep. To this day, I'm not sure if the face even had a body. It had to have had hands in the least. In the least. And I say this because of what
What it would do to my ex.
yeah.
Hey, bro, what the fuck? So she pretty much kind of like made like a normal thing for her to see that. Like she pretty much like accepted it.
Yeah.
Like fuck that, dude. Ooh, shit.
I think that's what you kind of have to do in that case.
Yeah, dude. Like,
Wait, do you guys believe in stuff like this?
well, it's like the people that say that they see ghosts
Or
Yeah,
demons?
or just in general like ghosts or just unnatural shit that we can't see, but they're like, oh shit, I can see something like right behind you, like in a
Yeah.
like something. And boy, we're like,
See
what's
that kind of stuff. I think it's kind of bullshit, but I'm not like a non-believer.
Yeah,
I never
I
really
wouldn't-
seen anything.
I wouldn't say that it's bullshit, but the thing is, I haven't felt an unnatural, supernatural shit happen to me.
The only shit that ever really happened to me like that was a dream, but that dream freaked me the fuck out. That shit
Oh,
was
the one
crazy.
where you woke up?
where I woke up and that little girl was on the edge of my bed. Fool.
Ah,
Oh,
And
that's
she,
creepy as
she just
fuck.
had the hair over like the Grudge fucking head, and then there
Yeah.
was like fucking weird ass writing. It was probably like Arabic writing all over my wall.
shit.
Swastika.
Not awful. It was fucking ISIS food.
Nah, I don't know. For me, it's hard to believe stuff like this because I have never dealt with anything like that.
It's all shit we get scared of is like in our own heads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the
fool.
most part.
That's what it is. But like, it makes me wonder because there's people that they can't see shit, and the things we can't see it.
It's like the
But-
Shining fool?
It's kind of like that, but like it's like I think my sister, she has a friend that
Like a medium kind of?
kind of, but it's not that she could like, you know, she said that like she could see ghosts, but she says that that she doesn't pay attention to them. When she sees it, she doesn't pay attention. She's just like acts like it's not there.
Like when you're on the
'Cause-
ride at Disney, fool,
But the thing is,
in the Haunted Mansion.
if you pay attention to it, then that's where it's gonna attract you.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's like saying like if you see something,
If you give it
Uh,
your energy, it starts fucking with you.
yeah, dude,
Damn,
That's
maybe
a-
it
that's
feeds
like
off of that
Anything,
energy.
fool.
yeah, bro. So That's some creepy ass shit.
I wonder if she ever sees like ghosts following people or shit like that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure
She sees the
fool.
black guy with the big dick on the edge of the bed.
Shit,
Fool.
damn fool. Sleeping right there, sleeping at the edge of your bed.
That fool sitting
damn.
like that in the sick ass picture.
Yeah, bro. Cause like, think about it, dude. Like if you see that since you're young, it's like you think it's a normal thing for you because you grew up with it. Compared to
That's
someone,
true.
compared like someone like this, like fucking freshly, like, oh, what the fuck, goes out of nowhere.
See, for me, that doesn't sound all that crazy because it's like how we were talking about a couple episodes ago. How like when you're thinking of somebody and they call you,
yeah,
that's got to be something.
It's like a weird intuition.
It's a
thing.
weird intuition, but
Yeah.
I think there's like another kind of like level to it, maybe.
Like a yeah, that's weird. Like a conscience, like a weird conscience.
That's like how they had that study with the rats where they taught rats on this side of the country how to do something.
Oh, and then
For whatever fucking reason on this side of the country, the rats can do the same shit.
Yeah.
They figured it out faster.
that's fucking weird.
interesting as fucking.
That was a real
scientific
study.
shit,
That was a
dude.
real
What
fucking
the
study.
fuck?
But I wonder if it has to do with like purity, like I don't know, like
Telekinesis, fool.
some weird shit like that, like
Yeah.
where you have to be like not drinking. You have to be like your body has to be like aligned or some shit.
Damn, fuck that. I'm trying to drink, then I'm not trying to see no ghosts.
I know,
I'm
right?
trying to
Fuck
see all
that.
the ghosts. Food.
Fuck that. Hey, Frankie says that he one day we see him in the next podcast, his eyes are all like black because he hasn't slept because he sees ghosts now.
Maybe that's why drinks are called spirits.
Damn.
Because I was watching this podcast with that artist of Prayers, the singer. He does like dark wave music, and he
Oh,
was
you're
saying,
Chologoth.
Cholo, yeah, him. But he was saying that because before he even started doing music, he had a Mexican restaurant, and because he's from San Diego, and he said that one day some guy came in and he was dressed in all white. He had like a fucking beard and he had like long hair, but it was in a ponytail, and he was like talking to him, and he was like a witch basically.
Mm-hmm.
So he started like seeing weird shit with him, and he's all like, dude, like I know what you're going through, because I guess his restaurant wasn't doing well at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, but follow me, and you'll get to where you gotta get to.
Yeah.
So he started. He went along with him. He's like, you have to be vegetarian. You can't drink. You can't masturbate. You can't have sex. So he did that for 4 years, and I guess supposedly that helps you get aligned.
Damn, that fool became a monk?
Basically, yeah.
Shit.
So, but this fool said that like the thing that tripped him out and made him believe in that guy. He said that there was this one time where he took him to go see this it was a daughter and a mom,
Yeah.
and the mom would tell she told the guy, his name was Juan, and he told him, was like, hey, my daughter's saying that like that little people are coming at night and pinching her on her face and stuff. And she's all like, I already put gloves over her hands at night, and they'll be on in the morning, and it can't be her. And she didn't want to send her to school because she'll have like pinches and stuff in her face.
Yeah.
So they'll think it was like the mom or whatever. So he's like, oh, okay, I'll head over. So since he knew this, the guy Prayers knew that he would get like produce, like fresh ass produce. He told him to get a list of things, and it had to be like the best shit. So he's all like, get it to me. We're going to go see this lady, and I'm going to put this stuff in a brown paper bag on her by the girl's head.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And this fool was just like, whatever, this was tripping.
Yeah.
So the next day, so he asked them when they went to go the next day, he's like, so how do you know if it works? He's all like, if that produce is rotten, that means that our job is done. But if it's not rotten, that means we have to get more aggressive. And he's like, what the fuck?
Oh,
So
shit.
he goes up to they drive up to the place the next day, and they see it, and they get the paper bag. And he said when he grabbed it, the whole bottom of the bag was wet.
Oh.
It was all soaked, and he looked, and it was all like spoiled.
From the fresh produce, too, huh?
Yeah.
Damn,
That's
dude.
fucking... That's what I'm saying. Strange shit
So that's
fucking
what I'm
happens,
saying.
dude.
I'm like, damn, like that must be trippy. Like there's actual people like that out there. Like I wonder what it like what it is, like witchery or like some weird.
It's like I feel like it's something. Maybe he is someone that could see ghosts.
Or like a
But,
healer. You know
like,
how they
yeah,
have those
yeah,
weird
yeah.
healers where they like, you always hear about it, like brujas and shit like that.
Brujos and brujas, yeah. maybe like they could see shit, but at the same time, maybe they're studying like pretty much like all this type of like certain shit to do.
He did
like,
say that he did do that. He studied like weird shit, and everything he did, like for that lady, that he never charged them because he had it. He said that it always has to come from a pure heart, like because if you do it for money, then it's out of greed.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's what tripped me out. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, I would want to meet one of those people, you know?
I wouldn't. Nope.
If anybody's out there, want to come on the Flare Up podcast, hit us up.
Brian's not gonna be
I
here that
won't be
day.
here. I won't be here.
No, fool, you gotta bring your
I'll bring some holy water and toss it at
you
him.
gotta bring your crucifix, fool. You gotta bring a blessed one.
So where were we at with the story?
I already got my blessed crucifix.
Sick ass fool. You already got it on your history, fool.
I already got blessed.
I think you right there on that second
first time.
paragraph. No?
All right. The
First-
first time anyone besides myself had noticed it was when my ex had spent the night with me. As usual, it had appeared in my closet as we were falling asleep. He noticed it first, and naturally he reacted as I would have expected. He sat bolt up while grabbing a hold of me, asking what the hell was in my closet. He eventually remembered about the face when I told him, and then I told him just to turn over and ignore it, as I had been doing for the past couple months. Damn, I would have been, if I was her, I would have been like, come on, talk to it, fool.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to it.
Right?
If I was a
Right?
dude, I would have been like, damn, you're hiding a side dude in the closet.
Oh yeah. Imagine fool.
So your
Trying to
side
sneak
piece?
out. Trying to sneak out while they're sleeping. Oh shit.
Now you need to tell it to leave. I remember
There
him
we go.
telling me.
Yep.
I stared back at him in the dark of my room, feeling surprised at him and his words. The face never did anything other than stare. Rather than argue, however, I turned back to the closet. It was already gone before I could ask it to leave us alone. I pointed that fact out, actually sounding angry as I said he scared the face off. I left it at that and turned over, nuzzling into my pillows and feeling ready to just pass out. My ex, however, got out of the bed and slammed my closet door shut. I wish he hadn't. I really wish he hadn't. A few hours later, at a time that belonged neither to night nor dawn, I heard a voice. It was barely a whisper, but it opened my eyes. Nonetheless, I stayed still, just listening before I heard it again. It was louder this time, and it made my flesh erupt in goosebumps.
Ooh.
It was my voice I was hearing, and it was saying one thing: my ex-boyfriend's name.
Oh shit.
What the fuck?
I said, puto.
Abre la puerta. Pendejo.
I even heard him mumble next to me in response. That was right before my closet door exploded open and we both sat up in shock. As soon as I turned to see the closet door wide open, I lit the room with my bedside lamp. At this point, my ex-boyfriend was cursing loudly, and I saw him holding the right cheek. On his cheek was a red mark that almost looked like he had been slapped. That's how everything started going downhill. Fool, that was payback, fool.
Yeah, he got
for hitting
stalked.
me. The
Hey.
fucking ghost said, "Bah."
Yeah, Stockton slap dog. That was Nate Diaz the whole time, fool.
He said,
Whenever my ex came over to sleep, he insisted that my closet door be shut, and even suggested replacing the handle with one that would lock. It wasn't every night he stayed over that something would happen, but we rarely had a peaceful night together. I'll say nothing bad ever happened to me. It was always directed towards him. In all honesty, the worse our relationship got, and the more abusive he was, the more things would happen to him, and the worse it got for him.
damn, that witch used to get
Maybe-
beat up too?
Yeah, maybe the fucking demon was just because he said that his sister used to see something like that, right?
They said it came from his mom, right? They
Maybe
said
he just wanted his ass,
or
fool.
some shit. I don't know, something. Yeah, dude.
So maybe it would just like be attached to the woman in his life
Baby, fool.
in some weird
Maybe,
way.
huh?
Some weird shit, fool.
The last time he had stayed over before I called it quits on our relationship, he was actually choked in his sleep. I woke up to him wheezing and coughing. His eyes were wide and looked like they were popping out of his skull. His face was nearly purple with veins popping out of his forehead. His nose had even began to bleed. I never saw anything attacking him, just the aftermath.
Yeah, I think she's capping, fool. She's
It's
just
just
beating
her?
his. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
just
It's
beating
her?
his ass, fool.
I
She's
didn't
blaming on a
keep in,
ghost.
I didn't keep in contact with him after the breakup to know for sure. However, I didn't see the face again after that night, not for a while. Nothing happened, not so much as a shadow or a whisper. I had figured the face had left with him and was gone for good. This is where I wish the story had ended for me. Damn, and there's more?
Fuck. Let's see what happens.
Hey.
So pretty much maybe it was attached to the guy, and pretty much like whoever he comes in contact, or for example gets in a relationship or marriage, he's gonna be pretty much, if you're
Like,
with him,
tethers on, fool.
it's like you're dealing with his shit too.
But I think it has to be with the woman because it was from the mom to the sister to his girlfriend.
No, but the thing is, why is it attached to the boy though? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe
It's
it has to
following the guy.
get to him through a woman.
Or some weird shit like that.
Yeah, probably.
Possibly. Okay, that makes sense if you put it that way.
A couple months later, my older brother and his wife had fallen on some financially tough times. Damn, putting all their business out like that?
Damn, I know, man. Shit.
Since it was just myself and since it was just myself and my mom in a 5-bedroom house, she invited them and their 2 children to come live with us.
5 bedrooms. That's a big ass house.
That is pretty
bro,
big.
shit.
The quiet house was suddenly crowded and packed full of moving boxes and furniture, not to mention the wild 6 and 4-year-old. By this point in time, I had graduated high school and I was balancing babysitting my niece and nephew while my brother, his wife, and my mom were away at work. With my part-time job and new boyfriend, everything was normal, at least as much as it could be. Honestly, I didn't start paying attention to my brother and his wife's growing concerns over my 4-year-old niece's nightmares until I witnessed it myself. I originally figured that it was normal for children to have nightmares, but I still remember tons of twisted, demented, and frankly strange dreams from my childhood. Eventually, I noticed her lack of energy and she seemed to have little interest in toys. Sometimes I could encourage her to nap on the couch with me while I had my nephew watch a movie or TV. Other than that, I assumed that she had stopped sleeping at night because of the nightmares. The nightmares my niece was having only worsened when her mom got a night job and my brother was away for a few weeks at work for training and a promotion opportunity. My mom wouldn't get home until around 11 at night, so it was up to me to feed the kids dinner, bathe them, and put them to sleep. My nephew, even though he was only 6 at the time, liked boasting that he was too old for bedtime stories. I figured he said that so he could play his DS in bed for an extra 15 minutes. So it was usually just me reading to my niece in her room. On this one night in particular, she asked me to tell her a story of picking out a book to read. Not thinking twice about her request, I asked her, "What kind of story do you want me to tell you?" "Tell me about the witch," she answered.
Ooh.
And I immediately thought of stories like The Wizard of Oz or Hansel and Gretel. I didn't get a sentence into the story before she stopped me. "That's not scary enough," she said to me. "Tell me the scary story about the witch."
Ooh, damn.
With her statement, I started to realize that she wasn't only asking for a scary story about a specific scary story about some specific witch. "I didn't know what witch you're talking about, sweetie." I admitted, feeling this dread slowly rising and filling up my body. In the back of my mind, I knew what she was talking about, but my rationality was fervently denying it.
Damn, bro.
"The witch that lives in your closet. Tell me the scary story where we die." Oh! I was floored. I sat there staring back at my 4-year-old niece, her words running circles around my head as I tried to process how I even felt.
She was listening to fucking Suicidal Tendencies. Four.
It's on my head. I was scared, I was shocked, I was baffled, I was angry. It left me speechless with my eyes wide and my mouth agape. The face had never hurt me, but I had seen what it had done to my ex, and I wholeheartedly believed it could kill. I wasn't sure what else to do, so I calmly told her to go to sleep and left. When my mom got home later that night, I was already waiting for her. I kept my composure and greeted her, even though I wanted to cry and tell her what my niece had told me. Instead, I held back and asked what the content of my niece's nightmares were.
Mm-hmm.
She initially told me that she had no idea and that she was going through a phase. She seemed more agitated the more I pestered her about it, so I finally flat out said, "She thinks we're going to die." She told me someone was living in my closet. She was careful with how she replied, and I know that she was hiding something from me. She was having dreams about a person going into her bedroom at night. That's it. She sounded like my mom was already over the issue, like my niece was fine now. With her words, I decided to finally quit pressing her about the issue. Honestly, I was afraid to go to sleep that night. I knew I would see that face. I also knew what would used to happen to my ex when he would close the closet door. I was finally in bed around 2 in the morning, but I couldn't muster up the courage to close my damn closet door.
Damn.
While I was falling asleep, I couldn't keep my eyes off of the closet, off of my open closet. I know I was dozing in and out of consciousness. My eyes would droop or close and then snap open once I realized that was happening. In what seemed like an instant, the face was there, staring at me silently as always. I was fully awake in a second, and I stared back at it, too afraid to even blink. My fear slowly melted away into the anger I had felt previously, and I sat up in my bed, tightly gripping my sheets. "Go away," I spoke to my room, but hated how shattered my voice sounded. I took in another breath and more sternly said, "Go away." The face didn't move from where it was hovering at the top of my closet.
Damn.
Ooh.
"Go away," I kept repeating until I was nearly yelling. The face was suddenly gone, and it took a few more go-aways for me to realize that. I sat in my bed, now silent, still staring at the closet door before I finally turned on the light. I felt the fear filling me up once more, so before I was too scared to do anything, I finally bolted over my bed, jumping off the bedpost, and quickly slammed my closet door shut. I was still for a while after, with my heart pounding, half expecting the door to fling back open. I then looked from my closet to my dresser and moved so I could try and push it in front of the door. In the end, it was too heavy, so I had to rip out the drawers and slide it across my carpet that way. My dresser stayed that way in front of the closet for the next few days. My peace of mind slowly began to return. My niece hadn't had any further nightmares. I had managed to get into bed early this night, and my mom wouldn't be home for the next couple hours from work. Of course, the peace didn't last that long. Just before I was able to doze, I heard what sounded like a quiet, sharp tapping. I almost ignored it at first, but the sound was persistent and growing louder. I sat up in my bed, and I just knew it was coming from my closet. I had heard the same tapping only months before. I sat in the dark of my room, my eyes wide and staring at the closet door with my heart pounding in my chest. I was almost certain that the door would burst open at any second, despite my heavy dresser keeping it sealed shut. I sat there for a while, like an eternity, before the tapping, having grown to a piercing noise, suddenly stopped. I continued listening, eyes still wide and never leaving the closet door, while slowly reaching my hand out to turn on the lamp in my room.
I'm gonna take a piss real quick.
My room, now lit, was still silent, and my fears was slowly starting to subside. before I heard another door open in the dead quiet house. I looked away from the closet door and over to my closed bedroom door, still listening. With seconds, I heard another door open, and the sound forced me out of bed. I opened my door, a dark hallway, and noticed that my niece's bedroom door was wide open. Taking in a deep breath, I walked away forward and switched on her bedroom light. I somehow knew that she wasn't in the room before I was able to visually confirm the thought. When I saw her empty bed, I called out for her. I was only answered by my nephew's bedroom door slamming shut. Dread was filling me up, and I wanted to run back into my room and hide under the covers of my bed, but I couldn't. I had to be stronger than that. Excuse me. I slowly crept down the hall, calling out for my nephew, and now and still received no answer from either of the children. I could see the light flooding through the cracks around his door, but when I tried the handle, it wouldn't budge. It wasn't locked. It felt like it was jammed, like someone was holding the door closed on from the other side.
Damn.
Banging on the bedroom door, I surprised myself with how loudly I shouted for each of the children by their full names. They still didn't answer me, but when I pressed my ear to the door, I could hear their voices, and a third, a young woman's voice. It was too muffled to make out what anyone was saying, but my mind went into primal, and as I completely freaked out. It was such a blur that I can't describe how hard I was trying to get into the room. With the state of mind I was in, I finally got the idea to take the doorknob off the door altogether. The handle itself didn't have any sort of lock, and there were screws on my side that I was able to undo after running to the backyard to find a toolbox. After forcing the doorknob apart, I was able to see partially into the room. I heard my niece speaking softly, and I was able to see my nephew standing in the corner of his room in his onesie pajamas, looking tired and confused.
Whoa!
Sick ass food. Finally, I was able to get his attention while trying my hardest not to scream at him. He looked hesitant at first before scurrying over to try and help me unjam the door. I could still hear my niece talking to the third voice, and realization hit me like a train when I heard it speaking back to her. It was my own voice talking to her, encouraging her to do something. My voice was telling her that she had no other choice, that her brother needed to die. What the fuck? I was so frantic, slamming into the door as hard as I could while my nephew pulled at the door knob left from the other side. It felt like I was trying to move a solid wall. Eventually the hinges gave way and the door frame cracked, opening up for me to get into the room. I grabbed onto my nephew, and I was finally able to see my niece in the room. She was in her own onesie pajamas, and she was clutching the handle of a fillet knife my mom kept in the kitchen with both of her hands.
What are you gonna do? Stab a ghost?
All of the knives were kept in a cabinet over the kitchen sink since the kids had moved in, and I still had no idea how she had got it. I was going to ask her, but the sight of the third person in the room almost immediately held all my attention. Oh shit. In an image that my ex-boyfriend had described to me once before, I saw the white face in my nephew's room. The blankets on his head were wrapped tightly around the plain face, its eyes impossibly black and empty. It was positioned high near the ceiling of his room, just hovering above the bed, with nothing but air between the mattress and the ends of the blanket. I never experienced a terror so great before in my life, and I'm surprised that I hadn't began to manically scream. I could still hear my own voice pouring out from the face, encouraging my niece to kill her brother and now myself. I was able to tear my eyes away from the soulless gaze of the white face, so I could look back to my niece. She was slowly coming towards myself and her brother, the knife awkward in her small hands. I was able to bring myself to action once again, and I reached out for her, spinning my niece around so she was facing away from me, and I picked her up at her waist before fleeing the room. I had grabbed onto my nephew's arm so hard that I ended up bruising it as I pulled him after me.
Real quick, would you slap the shit out of a little kid that's coming at you with a knife?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Wow.
I'll throw a spinning backhand fool.
Sorry, why the hell you have this?
Chokehold that fool. Wow.
I only stopped to grab my purse before running with both of the kids out of the house. I shoved both of the children to the backseat of my car before backing out of the driveway and speeding away from the house. At this point in time, my niece was screaming. My nephew was crying and angry. I remember the 6-year-olds yelling that they didn't have car seats or shoes. I was in full panic, crying and hyperventilating, and I had no idea what to do. I would have been driving worse than any drunk person. I knew that I had to stop. I ended up in a parking lot at a lot to a 24-hour diner a few blocks from my house. With my car stopped, both my niece and nephew settled down quiet and a bit and let me sit in silence while I tried to compose myself and figure out what to do. The clock in my car told me that my mom would be getting off work in the next 20 minutes, but I didn't have my cell phone to call her. I shut off my car, telling the children that we could go into the diner and I would buy them ice cream. My nephew complained again that he didn't have any shoes, nor did I or his sister, and my niece was still silent. They still followed me inside. Nonetheless, all three of us in pajamas. I was glad when the staff of the nearly deserted diner didn't protest us coming in and sitting at a booth before they could even speak to us. I told both my niece and nephew I was going to order their ice cream, and they wandered by myself up to the front counter where a waitress and a night manager were giving me puzzled looks. I lied through my teeth to them, saying that I was babysitting the kids and someone had broken into the house. I told them that I was able to grab them in my purse before fleeing, that I didn't bring my phone with to call my mom. The manager was nice enough to let me use a phone behind the counter, while the waitress walked over to the booth where my niece and nephew were still sitting silently to watch them. The rest of the night staff in the kitchen quickly caught on, and I could see them whispering amongst themselves while I dialed my mom's number. I managed to keep a calm, almost monotone voice while talking to my mom. I told her that I had the children at the diner and asked her to come as soon as possible. I refrained from telling her the same story about a burglar and instead told her that the children and I had gotten scared and left the house in a panic. I didn't end up going back to the house that night. Instead, my mom came and got the children and had called my sister-in-law home early from work that night. I ended up spending the night at my then boyfriend's house. I finally told him everything I had said. Here, needless to say, he was skeptical. He wholeheartedly believed that something had scared me that night. He had also convinced me to move in with him so I wouldn't have to sleep in my room with that damn face in my closet any longer. I called my mom and told her the next morning what I was planning to do. She didn't fight much and instead sounded worried still for my niece. When she and my sister-in-law got back home that night, they found part of the chain link fence. The chain link fence ran over from when I had backed out of the driveway, so I hadn't realized that I have done that at that time, but the scrapes I found on the side of my car coincided with the description. They had also found the security door and front door both wide open. The toolbox I had grabbed from the backyard was tipped over in the hallway in front of my nephew's mangled door. They had also found the fillet knife my niece had in her brother's room. I had broke down in tears when she told me that my nephew's blankets had been found dragged into the living room, stopping just before the threshold of the front door. I knew that the face had most likely followed us, but the thought of it actually chasing us was too much for me to handle.
Damn.
Over the next week, my brother returned from his business trip and ended up receiving his promotion so he would be able to move his family out of the house as well. My mom had eventually been convinced to sell the house, but not before my niece and had another episode. She had gotten a hold of that same fillet knife in the middle of the night and had woken up her parents by stabbing her mother in the thigh while she was sleeping. Oh shit.
Damn.
I met my family at the hospital that next morning. My sister-in-law was fine, and oddly enough, my niece and nephew were acting as normal, like nothing had happened. My brother was worried enough to call a realtor that day to try and find somewhere to live besides my mom's cursed house. That day, my mom finally opened up to me the nightmares that my niece was having. The person who would go into her room at night apparently resembled myself, wrapped up in a bundle of blankets with just my face exposed. She would call herself a witch and tell my niece that her family was going to die and she had to save them. My brother and sister-in-law also knew about this, and they even heard my voice when I wasn't home or when I was sleeping in my room. Nobody had told me about this because I never said anything myself. My mom even went as far as telling me that she didn't want to scare me when I was home alone watching the children at night.
That's fucked up, fool.
Fuck, that's super scary.
Yeah, dude. They should have told her, bro. Regardless.
I
man.
know, dude.
Like that, like just the fact that she could watch the kids at night.
I know
while
that's
they're at work. That's fucked up.
That's
fool.
so scary. I never told them about the face in my closet or what I had seen that night. I haven't even mentioned it to anyone as well. I buried everything that had happened deep in my mind, and thankfully nothing even slightly paranormal has happened since I had moved out. Still, over 6 years later, I cannot shake that feeling of someone watching me at night when I sleep from my closet.
Damn.
That's creepy. That feeling of somebody watching you.
Oh, dude, that's scary as.
That's just fucking scary,
Oh.
dude.
It's scary because it was true.
Uh huh.
Damn. What would you guys do in that situation?
Oh man.
Would just be
To
like
be
her,
honest,
acting like
dude,
nothing happened?
you gotta play possum food, act like you didn't see him food. Like, they're all making a bunch of funny, like scary
This
noises.
is when you walk by a homeless person, fool.
Yeah. You act like you don't see him. You walk around.
What's that episode of Family Guy where the prostitute's on the bed and Peter's all like, if you're quiet and you move slowly, they won't see you. And the prostitute's like, is anybody in here?
Sick ass food, dude. No, that was
She's
good.
like-
Hey, that was a good story.
That was damn.
That
That's
was a good
creepy,
story, dude. Shit did give me a nice couple little goosebumps.
Little chili.
But you're just
Yeah,
getting
dude.
sick, fool.
Yeah, sure, fool. Sure, fool.
That fool said,
He's gonna be all sick at the camping trip.
Cool.
"That's gonna get us sick, dude. We're gonna be out there all
Sick ass
cold, fool.
I know, dude. We're cuddle, fool. Shit, it's okay, fool.
What
You hold me, I'll hold you, fool."
I know, that's all right. So the next one we'll do mine. It's The World's Ocean Contains Many Dark Secrets, written by Wound Liquor. Damn, sick ass nickname. Shit. All right, here goes. I'm breaking so many of my own rules by posting this account on an online forum and under an alias in my long and, dare I say it, distinguished career as a freelance investigative journalist. I have never taken such an action, nor have I ever published a story without first checking and double checking my information. In actual fact, I only have one source for the majority of the stories I plan to recount. One man who was branded as a maverick, a lunatic by the authorities, the people in power who were so eager to silence him. I will confess that I was very cynical when I first heard the old seaman's outlandish tales. I have never been a believer in the supernatural world and have been based all of my beliefs in hard scientific fact. But recent events have changed my mind, and my source is a man I've grown to trust. Even so, I wish I had the opportunity to further investigate the claims made and obtain conclusive evidence, but Elias, I fear my time is limited. The government may come after me. Certainly they have the incentive to silence me. Still, during my careers, I've faced down many petty bureaucrats, secret policemen, and the tin pot dictator governments don't scare me anymore, but what lies beneath the deep blue sea certainly does. I'm sure you're all familiar with thalassophobia. Thalassophobia. That is the persistent and intense fear of deep bodies of the water. This was never a phobia that affected me to any great degree. In times past, my rational mind would have written such fears off as an evolutionary response or a result of watching so many killer shark movies. I never would have dreamt that our oceans were home to so many dark secrets and evil almost beyond human comprehension. Some say ignorance is a bliss, but this was never a philosophy I had heard too. In fact, I have always prided myself on the thirst of knowledge and passion to pursue the truth. That's why I became a journalist after all. But given what I've learned, the sheer terror which has now invaded my conscious mind, I have left to wonder whether it's all been worth it. But I can't turn back the clock or erase the knowledge from my memory. Nor can I escape the dark power which has its itchy grip upon me. In the end, I feel compelled to write and tell the story, even if it's the last thing I do in this world. What can I say about Jack Brady, my fearless source and a legend of the oceanic community who risked everything to tell me the truth? Jack was in his early 70s by the time I made his acquaintance. A man with full of life experience behind him, but still filled with a steely determination and defiance visible even under his world-weary eyes and wrinkled skin. It's hard to believe that it's only been a month since old Jack first contacted me by email to request a meeting. Jack hinted that he had a story of great importance which he wished to impart to me and only me. Apparently he'd read some of my previous exposés and felt I was the right man for the job. I'll confess that I've almost dismissed and deleted the unsolicited email out of hand. I received a lot of hoax and crank messages giving my career and Jack's vague description of Secrets of Seven Seas frankly sounded like a lot of BS, but I didn't delete the emails. Instead, sent a reply to arrange a meeting. I can't say why exactly. Call it a journalist's instinct, but I got a whiff of a story. Imagine like a fart and shit. Whiff of a story, and had to follow the lead. I didn't walk into the meeting blind, however. As always, I did my due diligence and looked into Jack before going to meet him. I soon discovered that my source had lived an interesting life and varied career, although his passion for the sea was a constant. Born and raised in an Irish Catholic family in Boston, Jack had left home to join the Navy at 18 and spent the next 5 years in the service. After his honorable discharge, our hero worked as a diver in the West Indies for several years before an unspecified incident made him suddenly quit and seek for a new career. His employment history was rather vague after this point, at least according to the official records. He was formerly employed by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for nearly 4 decades, although I noted how Jack was officially listed as an independent contractor on their roster. It was unclear what work Jack Brady did for his seemingly mundane and unremarkable government agency, but his email strongly implied the NOAA was a part of the wider conspiracy. But what were they covering up? Jack's initial email didn't provide the details, but he did send a number of hyperlinks leading to obscure and seemingly unrelated articles. I read the collection of news stories, scientific journals, and Wikipedia articles which covered everything from biblical sea monsters to the lost city of Atlantis and unexplained underwater sounds. I could only see the things which linked these stories together, and that was Jack Brady's lifelong passion, the seven seas. Uh-oh. We met in the spit.
Graham Hancock, fool.
It is, fool. He's like in the water.
That fool sweaty?
Hell yeah, fool. we met in the Spit and Sawdust Bar in Harbor District, the type of place where a patron glared at you, especially when you entered. I found Jack sitting at the bar nursing a large glass of whiskey. His appearance was much as I would have expected. Jack was a large man, not overweight but well built. I noted an old scar across his right cheek and how his deep blue eyes were focused despite the alcohol he already consumed. Jack greeted me coolly, shaking my hand firmly, and nodded his head. He offered me a drink, which I politely declined, and motioned me over to the corner booth where he said we could talk in private. For whatever reason, Jack refused to let me record our conversation, so I did my best to transcribe the words in shorthand. I started by asking him questions about his upbringing by early career, just to get a feel for the old timer. His answers were short and to the point. He'd grown up in a seafaring family and was taught to sail at an early age. Jack said little about his time spent in the Navy, only saying that he served as an enlisted sailor on a destroyer and was deployed to the South China Sea during the fall of Saigon. It was clear that he didn't wish to talk about his personal and family life, but he was keen to recount the story from his time working as a rescue diver in the Bahamas. The 13th of July 1982, I'll never forget the date. I know it's cliche, but that was the day which changed my life forever. I got a call in the morning from the Nassau police asking for my help with a body recovery offshore. A fisherman had reported seeing a corpse standing up right in the shallow waters.
Then that fool was floating all stiff.
Dude, he's all, fuck. Standing upright, I interjected in confusion. Yeah, Jack replied. His feet were encased in concrete. Real mafia shit, sleeping with his fishes, you know. Oh, fuck, damn.
That was crazy.
Oh, man. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. Wow, that's unusual. No. Not really, Jack responded with a simple shrug of his shoulders before he took another swig of whiskey. At the time, we were right in the middle of the Busiat drug smuggling route in the Western Hemisphere. Drug runners have disputed and corpses ended up in the water. Body recoveries were pretty common. The circumstances were strange, but it was only once I got into the water I realized something wasn't right. What could it be wrong? How so? I asked. My interest was now picked. Well, it was a hot day, temperatures in the high 90s. The water should have been warm, but when I made the dive, it was ice cold. I remember shivering once I reached the surface. I made no sense, but things only got weirder from that point. He paused again to take another gulp of hard liquor. I guess Jack needed the Dutch courage to continue, and I noticed how the color had drained from his face. The body wasn't deep, only 20 to 30 meters down. We weren't far from the shore, and the water was crystal clear, and so I could see the body from the surface. So despite the warning signs, I made the dive. Like I said, the water was impossibly cold, but there was something else. There was no fish anywhere in the vicinity. Now, I dealt with a lot of body recoveries, and when the corpse in the underwater for any length of time, it's going to attract scavengers. The bottom feeders come first, then the bigger predators follow once they smell blood in the water. Nature takes its course, and before long, nothing's left but bone and cartilage. But on this dive, there wasn't a living thing to be seen. I was puzzled by the direction that the story was going, but also intrigued. I noticed how Jack's voice had lowered in volume. He appeared reluctant to continue his account, so I had to prompt him. Go on, I whispered. Jack broke eye contact, staring down at his glass before continuing. Like I said, I made the dive and I saw the body close up, and I already told you about his feet being encased in concrete. I don't know who did that to him, but I guess they had their reasons. The body was a male about 6 foot in height, but that's about all I could tell about the victim. His clothes were ripped and torn, his flesh was rotten, There was no evidence of any animals feasted upon him, but nevertheless, the man's body was falling apart. The decomposition was advanced, and it seemed like the corpse has been in the water for a long time. But this made no sense because the body had only been seen and reported this morning. The victim wasn't in deep water, it was visible from the surface. So there is no way it couldn't have been missed for any length of time. I was puzzled by the body's condition, but the main concern was how to get him to the surface. I knew I needed specialized equipment to do so. I was preparing to ascend back up and return to my boat, but when I saw it, my whole body just froze. "What did you see?" I asked impatiently. Jack finished the rest of his drink before he answered, his voice shaking as he spoke. The dead man's eyes were closed, and then suddenly they weren't. He opened his eyelids and stared straight at me. God, those eyes. They were like nothing I've ever seen in my life. Jet black and soulless. Truly monstrous eyes. Fuck, dude.
Getting in the staring contest of the body pool?
Imagine, dude. Fuck, dude. When you get
And
to the
they're pitch
body,
black?
bro, you get to the body. His eyes are closed, right? But all of a sudden, you go back to your toolbox, get what you need to get. Also, you see eyes just looking at you. Fuck. I was frozen for a long moment, not believing what I was seeing, but there was more. The corpse opened the mouth and revealed a gaping black hole, which to me looked like a portal to hell itself. Water seeped into his mouth, and I think he was trying to scream, but the sound was muffled underwater. He couldn't move his feet, but the monster reached out towards me with his bony, claw-like hands. Thankfully, I was just out of his reach, but I stumbled backwards and fell down to the seabed. The monster was still screaming desperately, trying to get at me as his black eyes burnt with pure hatred. Well, what can I say? I got the hell out of there and swam back to surface, leaving the raging monster trapped on the seabed. I reported what I've seen back to the Nashua police, and the investigating detectives looked at me like I was crazy. I began to think that I was just imagining the whole incident. I had an hallucination? I have hallucinated it. Was I going nuts? I didn't doubt my own sanity, but then the police sent out another diver, and I guess he had a similar experience to me. In fact, I believe he was injured during the dive as the monster clawed through his suit and skin. Oh, shit. After that, the situation escalated. The local authorities didn't know what to do with the creature, and so an expert was called from the States. I don't know for certain what happened next, but I believe the U.S. government extracted the creature and transported it back to the States. Why? I can't say, and frankly, I don't know. I don't want to know. Jack's first account ended at this point. I'll confess that my initial instinct was to burst out of laughter, but thankfully I stopped myself after reading Jack's tense body language. I could tell that he wasn't deliberately trying to mislead me or waste my time. His story was ridiculous, surely impossible, but he seemed to genuinely believe this incident had occurred. I imagine he hallucinated the encounter with the undead being on the seabed. Perhaps there had been something toxic in the water, or maybe he was suffering from PTSD as a result of his military service. Either way, I didn't believe his account. In the moment, I didn't know what to say, literally being left speechless by the absurdity of Jack's story. In the end, it was Jack who broke the awkward silence, as it seemed he could read my mind. "You don't believe me, do you?" he exclaimed coolly. "You think I'm full of shit." He looked me straight in the eye, and as he asked his loaded question, I suddenly felt very uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, Jack, but it's just not plausible. I'm a professional journalist, and I don't chase after ghosts and ghouls." Jack smirked and shook his head, but he still maintained eye contact across the table. "That's okay. I didn't expect you to believe me, not at first anyway. I don't have any physical proof for the story, but I have many more accounts to tell you and evidence to back them up. I'm happy to share what I've got, but I appreciate there's a leap of faith needed on your part. If you want to walk away, I won't hold it against you. No harm, no foul, but if you want to dig deeper, You have my contact detail. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need another drink. Oh, shit, damn, fool.
That fool's like 5 deep already.
Fuck yeah, man. He's probably listening to some fucking Johnny Paycheck. Drink 15 beers.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a whole, yeah. I left the bar soon after, my head spinning from the bizarre counter. I've seen and heard some crazy things during my career, but never anything like Jack's story. Normally, I'd write off any tales of the paranormal out of hand, but there was something about Jack Brady which impressed me. He didn't seem like your average fantasist or crackpot. I couldn't help feeling there was an actual story here. I did do my research into Bahamas incident, but found little to back up Jack's account. My attempts to reach out to the Najwa police came to nothing, but then Jack had claimed the incident was covered up by the authorities. I did find one short article in Archives newspaper which confirmed that the body has been reported at the location on the same date. What I found interesting was that there was no follow-up stories in the paper, which one would have expected to see if there was an ongoing investigation. I've had experiences in the field that the whole thing did stink of a cover-up and media suppression. I think this was what persuaded me to get back in contact with Jack and arrange of a second meeting. I still didn't think he had encountered the undead ghoul off the coast of the Bahamas, but I did believe he had an insight into the worlds of secrets of conspiracies. Our next meeting took place in the sunny afternoon in the marina as the two of us walked along the jetty and looked out the sea. Jack was keen to show me his sailing boat, a beautiful crafted and maintained 25-footer called Nautilus. Its name neatly emblazoned upon his ship hull. "She's a beauty," I said enthusiastically, whilst noting Jack's pride. "Will you take her out today?" Jack's face turned pale upon hearing the question, and I wondered what I said wrong. There was a tense pause before Jack finally answered, and I noted a terrible sadness in his voice when he spoke. "No, I haven't been out to sea since my retirement. I doubt I ever will again. I really should sell the old boat, but I just can't bear to be parted from her." I didn't know how to respond to the statement, but I filed the information away from the future reference whether Jack's experiences were real or imagined. It seemed clear he was suffering from significant trauma. We walked back down to the jetty, took the seat on a bench under the warm sun. He was then that Jack told me about his career change following the incident in the Bahamas.
That fool's a stripper now, dude.
I don't imagine that. He's fucking.
He became a drug dealer, fool.
Hey, imagine this shoot. The Najwa job was a good gig. Sure, I saw some bad stuff, but I also saved a lot of people and did some good. And it was a beautiful place to live, a real tropical paradise. If it hadn't been for the incident, I might have stayed down there indefinitely. But seeing something like that, that changes a man. It's like my eyes were open and suddenly I could see through the looking glass. I was also intrigued by the expert they called in to deal with the creature I encountered. The fact that the team had been sent from my home country suggested that this was a one-off incident, and our government knew what was really going on beneath the surface. And as it turned out, my suspicions were well founded. I started asking questions through my military contacts. I guess it was pretty foolish to be poking my nose into dark places of shadowy government agencies, but thankfully the man in the black didn't come to arrest me and ship me away to an off-the-grid prison. Quite the opposite, in fact, because I received a phone call offering me a job. I raised my eyebrow but couldn't help but feel excited upon hearing this revelation. Was this the government conspiracy I yearned to hear of? The call was from Mr. Smith, and no, I'm not kidding. This was really his name. Andrew Smith worked for the NOAA.
Joseph Smith, fool?
Yeah, fool, Joseph Smith, fool. Fuck, man. That fool's coming out. Which on the surface was a pretty dual civil service job, but Andy headed up a department which wasn't officially on the books. In fact, their entire existence was and still denied by the federal government. The section Smith managed was called the Oceanic Special Investigation Unit. Again, it's an innocuous name, but what was this unit? Does it fucking A.
Go pee,
Does
fool.
is
Go pee.
extraordinary.
Yeah, I got to take a piss. How do you
Go
know,
pee,
fool?
'cause
How'd you
you're
know? I can take it from here, bro. Damn. You're in my mind.
So this guy gave you a job, I asked? Yeah, Jack replied with a nod. He had heard I had been asking questions and looked into me. I guess Andy saw something and reckoned I could help them out. He was an expert they'd brought in to deal with the ghoul in the Bahamas. His team successfully captured and contained the creature before handing it over to the military. He doesn't know what happened to it next, nor do I. Hell, the zombie could still be locked up in Area 51 for all I know. But my intuition was correct. There were a lot of unexplained mysteries and phenomenons in the world's ocean, and the OSIU was tasked with investigating them. Jack spent the next few minutes explaining the structure and remit of the investigative unit and describing his early years working for the agency. He began in position of junior investigator, but soon worked his way up to the ranks under Smith's mentorship. During this time, he was sent around the world on various cases relating to the bizarre incidents and sightings in all of the planet's oceans. Jack confirmed that most of these reports were either hoaxes, local myths, or had some kind of logical explanation. The unit might go for years without any legitimate paranormal or cryptid activity, and there would be constant threats from the legislators to cut their funding. But the real case would come up. The four and the powers that be would take notice. The story he had told me on that Sunday afternoon at the marina was short but unsettling, as he described sightings of an entity simply known as the Swimmer. The Swimmer's full? Like the ones in your nuts full?
Dang,
What
fool.
did I miss?
Nothing full? You missed the Swimmer, fool.
What was the swimmer?
They found the Swimmer. That's what the entity's known as.
The swimmer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
This one stated out another legend, so at first we thought... This one started out as another legend, so at first we thought it was more BS, Jack explained. There are accounts of the Swimmer throughout history, going back to the time in the Roman Empire. What's interesting, though, is that the same story is replicated across different cultures and civilizations across the globe. In all accounts, the details were eerily similar. Sailors spoke of a single swimmer, a man with bronze skin, sometimes naked, other times wearing clothing or even a swimsuit, but he is always seen way out at sea. I mean, sometimes this guy's hundreds of miles from the nearest land and way too far for any normal human being to swim.
Damn.
When he's sighted, there are never any other boats in the vicinity and no indication of how he ended up in the ocean. Weird, huh? But it gets weirder. The captains of many ships have attempted to save that man, but every attempt to hail him or even physically pull the guy from the water have failed. This man or entity remains oblivious and just keeps swimming, like Dory fool.
I know.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Right?
The legend was indeed strange and quite chilling, but it sounded like nothing more than a myth. But of course, Jack had more to add. I took the case during the winter of 1988 after reports of the Swimmer began sighted in Atlantic about 200 miles east of Bermuda. Mr. Smith didn't give much credence to the reports, but he sent me to investigate the same. I hitched on a ride on a Navy, frigate?
Yeah, frigate.
Frigate on the patrol, and we were allowed to use their recon helicopter to search for the entity. Honestly, it was a potluck that we had found him, given that we only had an approximate location. But find him we did, and the first time I got proof. At this point, Jack removed his phone from his pocket and played me a video. The original footage was grainy and rough and did seem to have been recorded on an 80s camcorder, presumably being later converted into digital video file. All the ads, fool?
I know, fucking ads, fool.
The clip had apparently been filmed from a helicopter flying over open water, and I could hear the din of the rotor blades through the phone speakers. The chopper was flying in poor weather, and the gray waters below were rough, with heavy waves emerging and breaking with a violent intensity. Suddenly, the cameraman zoomed in, and that's when I saw him. The lone swimmer was face down and dressed in bright red trunks. I couldn't see his face, but the man's actions were extraordinary. I watched awestruck as he swam against the waves, not panicking and somehow remaining above the surface. He didn't look up when the helicopter flew over him, and he didn't react to the hails from the helicopter's loudspeakers. Instead, he just kept swimming even as the waves threatened to overwhelm him. The camera focused on the man for several seconds before zooming back out. Next, the cameraman scanned the horizon, confirming that there was no land and no other ships or planes anywhere in sight. All I could see was endless ocean in every direction, and then the footage abruptly ended.
Damn, bro. Imagine, bro. It's kind of fucking weird, dog.
Little swimmer.
A bronze man, fool?
Yeah, dude.
It's good to cattle, fool.
He's out
It is
there
good
fucking
to
sky swimming,
Shit, hell
sea
yeah.
flying.
Uh-huh.
I looked up from the screen and saw Jack watching more intently. Wow, I repeated, but didn't elaborate. The footage was convincing, but I couldn't guarantee it wasn't staged. Do you find out who he was? I asked. No, Jack confirmed with a shake of his head. It's an unsolved case to this day, but I have my theories. Oh, I said with genuine interest. Jack paused briefly, appearing deep in thought as he looked out to the sea. Have you ever heard the legend of the Wandering Jew? Damn, this story's sick, dude.
Hell yeah,
It's a
fool.
medieval fable about a man who taunted Jesus on the cross and was cursed to walk the earth until the second coming. The story sounds familiar, I confirmed. Well, I believe the swimmer is a nautical Jew, fool. I believe this swimmer is a nautical equivalent. He was once mortal man, but committed a grave sin. Now he is cursed to swim the world's oceans until the end of time. He doesn't tire, can't sink under the surface, and can never stop. No one can help this poor soul, and we must leave him to his fate. I felt sick nearing Jack's theory. I wasn't a religious man and hadn't been inside a church for years, but there was something truly chilling about the idea of a lost soul. A cursed man who was exiled from land itself and doomed to swim the world's cruel seas for all of eternity.
Damn.
Our second meeting ended soon, and after Jack telling me he would get in touch if I wanted to learn more. Once again, I did my research after the encounter, and there were numerous mentions and accounts of the swimmer or swimming man throughout history, across the globe, so that much is true. But I couldn't find video footage Jack had shown me anywhere online. I didn't believe the video was doctored. It was possible it was staged. The man swimming might have been dropped from a helicopter and then recovered after the film was shot. But why take the risk in such bad weather conditions? It just didn't add up. Nevertheless, by this time, I was hooked, and I wasted no time before arranging my next meetup with Jack. For our third interview, Jack invited me to his home, which I took as a good sign because surely I meant it was gaining his trust. He lived in a small Spartan one-bedroom apartment not too far from the harbor. The flat was tidy and well-kept, but very basic. I noted various liquor bottles stacked up in the kitchen, wondered whether Jack had a drinking problem. In any event, he offered me a cup of coffee, which I accepted. We sat in a small living room, and I noted the collection of well-thumbed books on the shelves, as one would expect. Jack owned many publications on sailing and naval history, but I noticed other editions on such diverse topics as religion, philosophy, and mythology. I was also surprised to see a pristine copy of King James Bible sitting on the coffee table. Jack hadn't struck me as being the religion type, but perhaps what he'd been through and has changed his life. Perhaps what he had been through had changed his outlook. As for me, I was intrigued but cynical, yet to be persuaded by Jack's outlandish tales. I watched as Jack set up his TV to stream a video from his phone and was mildly impressed to see a man of his age who was tech savvy. He didn't play me a video straight away, instead offering me an explanation. I apologize that I am not able to share this file with you. The same goes for the swimmer footage. I'm not meant to have these videos, and I'm certainly not allowed to show them to journalists. I'm breaking multiple federal laws by just talking to you now. Call me uncommitted if you want, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison. When I die, however, there's a different story. I'm happy to bequeath all the evidence I have to you on the condition that break the story wide open. Okay, I answered, not quite sure what else to say. Next, Jack leaned over and squeezed my booty cheeks. Oh, my bad.
Damn. Sick ass.
Jack leaned in close before asking his question. Well, friend, I'm sure you've heard of the lost city of Atlantis. This time I couldn't help myself from laughing at the absurdity of his question. Sure, don't tell me you guys found it. Jack shared in my amusement, snickering amiably, snickering, fool.
Okay.
With C's, not G's, fool. But this shit has G's.
I know.
No, I'm not. No, I am afraid not. That would have really topped off my career, don't you think? No, we didn't find Atlantis, but the and explore another legendary city which has been lost beneath the waves. An ancient city whose very existence challenges everything we thought we knew about human history. With this cryptic introduction, he pressed play on his phone and the video was beamed onto the TV screen. What we saw was footage from an underwater camera seemingly attached to a small submarine. It is a remotely operated underwater vehicle, ROV, Jack confirmed. The footage was taken in 1996 and the technology was state-of-the-art in the time. The film continued as the sub navigated through the dark waters and was clearly far below the surface. The main source of illumination was coming from the lights attached to its frame. The sub continued into its descent towards a large number of stone buildings which were inexplicably spread across the seabed. The site was substantial and I could see a number of smaller, flat-roofed buildings surrounding a trio of large pyramid-type structures. Clearly we were observing the lost city on the ocean floor, long abandoned by human beings and left to sea creatures to deep water predators. I continued watching the extraordinary footage, awestruck and mesmerized by what I was witnessing. I had never seen a sight like this before, and couldn't help but ask the question, where was this footage taken? I inquired. The Mascarene Plateau, Jack had confirmed in a matter-of-fact tone, northeast of Madagascar, west of Seychelles? Location about 150 meters below sea level. Syphilis, fool. My jaw dropped as I continued to watch the submersible's camera as it approached the largest of the lost city's pyramids, perhaps 50 to 60 feet tall and built with stairs ascending to their summits. I'm no expert in ancient history, but I've never heard of a lost city in this region, I said. No, you wouldn't have done, Jack replied. There's no official written records of the civilization ever existing. In fact, all of the historical and geological records say that this city shouldn't have been there. And yet here it is. What did you learn about this site? I asked impatiently. And what was the discovery never made public? Honestly, we don't know much, was Jack answers. The archaeologists can't explain the structures and pyramids. They say the building's designs include aspects from several different ancient civilizations, Egyptian, Mayan, Cambodian. It seems that this sunken city predates them all. It could be tens of thousands of years old, and yet structures are remarkably well preserved. As for now, we didn't make it public knowledge. Well, reasons will become apparent.
Do you think Graham Hancock knows about this place?
Wait, was this a real story?
Yeah, fool.
It's a real creepypasta?
Yeah, fool. That's what I said.
Oh shit! I thought it was a fake one.
This fool.
He pointed back toward the screen as the ROV descended into a small open entrance which led inside the submerged pyramid. I watched intently as the remote-control submarine was navigated through the tight corridor inside of the pyramid, its headlights illuminating its path as it drove deeper into the guts of the structure. What really interested me was the mosaic-like pictures displayed on the corridor walls, images which apparently told the story of lost civilization, disturbing and violent history. I saw depictions of robed priests standing on top of the pyramids, torrential rains falling upon them, as holy men used their knives and daggers to slaughter chained prisoners. The blood of the victims was flowing down towards the waterline. In the next image I saw the sailboats out on the waves and seamen throwing the bodies of slaves or prisoners overboard into the dark waters below. But most chilling was the monstrous predator under the surface which was feasting upon the human bodies. The huge creature appeared to be a sea serpent with green scales covering its body, and the monster had 3 heads. The depiction of the beast was chilling, as I saw the pairs of burning red eyes and a trio of mouths filled their razor-sharp teeth. Jack surely noticed my shock upon seeing these horrific depictions, and he surprised me by launching into biblical verse. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. Upon the earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholds all high things. He is a king over all children of pride. He is Leviathan, and this is his kingdom.
Oh shit!
What is Leviathan?
He's
the big sea monster fool?
Yeah, it's a monster from it's in the Bible.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's a kraken fool?
It's not a kraken. It's Leviathan, bro.
It's like its own thing.
It's like its own little monster, bro. It's like supposedly when the world ends, he's gonna come out. Do you know how destruction's gonna happen?
Damn, Moses is gonna part it, and that fool's gonna just walk through. Fool?
Yeah, fool.
Does it come out?
I gasped, staring at my companion in astonishment, but he didn't elaborate, instead mentioning for me to continue watching. Eventually, the submersible exited the lengthy corridor and entered a vast chamber in the very center of the pyramid. My blood froze when the camera focused, and we saw what lay within the chamber of horrors. Inside of the pyramid were bones of hundreds, if not thousands, of human beings. The walls were decorated with skulls, their empty eye sockets looking down accusingly at a small sea craft which had invaded their long-forgotten tomb. I looked away from the screen in disgust and towards Jack, who ended the video before turning to face me. There are legends of a lost continent of Lemuria, which was supposedly located in what's now the Indian Ocean. The Benchwood Ocean, fool?
There's trash down
No
there
wonder
too.
they
Damn,
shot
what
Reddit,
happened?
fool.
Oh, fuck you.
I clicked the ad, fool?
Go here.
Go back, fool.
You gotta go back.
There we go.
It's filled with trash and shit.
It was written off as a myth, but now we discovered proof of its existence. It seems that the nameless city was the capital of the lost civilization. As you can see, their leaders and priests practiced human sacrifice in a vast scale. But as horrific as their massacres were, it seemed that they did not serve a purpose. I raised both eyebrows in disbelief and shot him a hard glare. Jack fitted his hands defensively before replying. "Hey, I'm not trying to justify it," he said, "but the Lumerians were at the mercy of the beast." "Leviathan?" I asked in confusion. "Yes. Yeah," Jack answered in all seriousness. "Our anthropologists have studied the paintings their people had left behind. The Lumerians believed it was necessary to offer up sacrifices to the beast from the deep. This is how they kept their civilization safe. It seemed the system worked for a time, but ultimately the beast had his victory and their city was taken by the sea." "That's not possible," I exclaimed, and as I finally reached my limit. "There's no creature like that in the world's oceans. It's simply not possible." Jack smiled knowingly and nodded his head. "There was a time I would have believed you, but I'm sure you know that less than 20% of the ocean has been explored, and the truth is we have very little idea of what's going on down there." "Okay, I get it," was my defensive reply, "but I don't believe a monster like that could exist. A three-headed serpent? Come on, man. Where's your evidence?" "Well, it just so happens I have another story to tell," Jack said, his blue eyes filled with fiery intensity. "I will ask you to reserve judgment until you've seen and heard all I've got." I shook my head in disbelief. It seemed that I was being led down a rabbit hole and I didn't like this. But still, Jack had his hook and I couldn't walk away without hearing the full story. There was a strange incident which occurred in the early noughties. Actually, it was quite widely reported at the time. The news got out before we had a chance to bury it. But of course, the public didn't hear the full story. "Of course," I repeated, my cynicism returning as I once again questioned his entire enterprise. If Jack picked up on my tone, he didn't let it show, and instead continued his account. In November 2003, a research team tagged 9-foot female great white shark off the coast of southwest Australia. 4 months later, records show the shark abruptly dove 2,000 feet with 32-degree temperature spike. Then the shark disappeared without a trace. Soon after, the tag washed up on shore, but no signs of the shark. The researchers guessed that a large animal had came under the great white and dragged it to the bottom. Now the question is, what animal could have taken down and killed a 9-foot shark? I shrugged my shoulders dismissively before answering. "A bigger fish?" Jack laughed in amusement. "Yeah, good call," he said. "They reckoned it was a large great white or possibly an orca, but there was no definitive answer, but this theory satisfied most in the scientific community. But there was more than that that wasn't made public." I sighed aloud but didn't interrupt as Jack went on. "You see, the 9-footer wasn't the only thing tagged sea creature. You see, the 9-footer wasn't the only tagged sea creature which ended up dead. In total, there were 4 great white sharks killed in that part of the ocean in the space of a few months. The biggest of which was a 16-foot male. 2 fully grown orcas killed too. They didn't recover their trackers in all cases, but the recordings show these animals all died the same way. In all 6 cases, they were taken by something below and dragged down into the deep." My eyes widened as I made a connection in my head, but surely it couldn't be true, could it? Even if all those animals had died, there must be a logical explanation. What we did was set up a trap of sorts, Jack continued. We obtained the body of a recently deceased 12-foot great white and secured it to a buoy 50 meters below the surface and right in the middle of the unknown predator's hunting grounds. What's more, we attached underwater camera to monitor the situation and hopefully catch a glimpse of it. I felt my heart beating faster in my chest as I pushed him for more. What happened? I demanded. Jack smiled as if he enjoyed keeping me on my toes. The shark's corpse was floating in the water for 3 days. We were about to give up on it and cut the body loose. Then this happened. Once again, he operated his phone and streamed another clip onto his TV. The video was a short one, barely 10 seconds in length. It was that quick. One moment we were looking through an underwater camera facing downwards, down into the dark abyss. Suddenly something huge emerged from the depths, propelling itself upwards and towards the camera. I only got a quick glimpse of the beast, but its horrifying features were unmistakable. The giant predator which emerged from the darkness had 3 heads with 6 burning red eyes, and a trio of gaping jaws, I almost said juice, filled with so many rows of sharp teeth. I literally recoiled in my seat, letting out a startled cry as my frightened brain tried to make sense of what I had just seen. The video cut out a second later, the screen turning to black in an instant. As I guessed, the camera was swallowed up in the monster's jaws. Even though the monster was only on camera for a brief few seconds, Jack was able to show me a still image. The water was dark and the picture was blurred, but I could clearly see the predator in all its hideous glory. A nightmare of teeth and rage with 3 wide maws which looked like entrances to hell itself. And those eyes, all 6 of them burning red with rage, but also with intelligent malice. I had never seen such a creature before, but I couldn't help but acknowledge the stark resemblance to the depictions within the sunken city. I left Jack's place soon after, still in a daze and feeling sick to my stomach. I didn't make arrangements for further meeting, but muttered something about getting in touch as I shuffled towards the door. Jack made it clear that he had more information to share with me, but I think he knew I needed time to process all I had heard and seen. I'll confess that I poured myself a stiff drink when I got home, and it took me some time to calm down, but once I regained my senses, I started thinking logically, and the doubts returned. The footage I seen in Jack's apartment was unsettling, but certainly not conclusive. The videos of the underwater city and the 3-headed beast could have been staged or created by CGI. I don't know why Jack or anyone else would have gone through so much bother to do so, but I couldn't rule out the possibility. If Jack was telling me the truth, then there must be supporting evidence, logs, data, witness statements, etc. Maybe he had access to this information, but for now I couldn't be certain of anything. I told myself that this had to be bullshit and I was being taken for a ride by Jack Brady. All of my professional instincts told me to walk away, to cut off contact with Jack and abandon the investigation, but there was something deeper inside which stopped me from doing so. It wasn't just a hunch that I was chasing an important story. Sure, this was part of it, but I had learned how to awaken something within me. Call it primal fear or evolutionary reflex, but I was beginning to believe that Jack was right and there was really something wicked and terrifying in the ocean's depths. That was when the nightmare began. I didn't sleep well into the nights which followed for a third meeting, but when I did finally drift off, I was plagued by vivid and terrifying visions. In the first nightmare, I found myself sinking into the abyss, powerless as I descended into the darkness and towards a seemingly bottomless pit. The light had faded as the water filled my lungs, but in my dream I wasn't drowning and I felt oddly at peace. Don't get me wrong, it was terrifying to be so helpless, to be surrounded by endless water as I slowly sank into the near infinite abyss. But there was beauty in these depths, a feeling of awe and wonder whilst witnessing the glory of the natural world. But sadly the peace I felt in my dreamlike state was not to last. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, turning my head sharply to see the creature hurtling towards me. I tried to scream as the monster rapidly closed the gap. I kicked with all my strength but couldn't get away. My blood froze as the water around me boiled. And then I saw the monster, a thing of nightmares, dragged up from the depths of hell. This was Leviathan, the terror of the deep. come to feast upon my flesh and claim my soul. I screamed and kicked with all my worth, but it made no difference, as the 3 hungry mouths fought each other over the privilege of devouring me whole. I had a normal reaction to the nightmare, waking up and screaming and drenched in sweat. This was a bad one, but I guess I had a traceable origin. I seen images of the Leviathan during my last meeting with Jack, and they'd scared the shit out of me, so it seemed only natural that I have nightmares of the beast. But terrors I suffered through the next night were more difficult to explain. Once again, I plunged into an underwater nightmare, this time finding myself at the very bottom of the ocean. I didn't know how deep it was, but when I looked up I couldn't see the surface above me. In fact, the only light in the submerged hellscape came from the fluorescent sea creatures and flora which dotted along the seabed. There was darkness all around me, and I was chilled to the bone by the freezing water. I didn't want to be here. This wasn't the place for mortal men. I desperately tried to swim up, but I couldn't move from the spot. I started to panic as I looked downwards, my heart thumping hard in my chest, when I saw how my feet were encased in concrete, just like the ghoul Jack had encountered in the Bahamas all those years ago. I fought with all my might to free myself, but to no avail. Eventually I exhausted myself, coming from the terrifying conclusion that was trapped in this watery hell. But there was worse to come. Suddenly the water temperature around me rose dramatically, going from freezing to near boiling in a matter of seconds, and a moment later the dark water around me turned blood red as a dense crimson cloud surrounded me. I choked as a toxic substance forced its way down my throat, and I guessed whatever had polluted the ocean water was pure poison. I prayed I'd wake up, but the nightmare wasn't done with me yet. My eyes adjusted as the red cloud parted and something emerged from behind it, a creature which shuffled across the ocean floor.
That fool was shuffling, fool?
Yeah, every day I'm shuffling.
Leviathan shuffling, dog.
Sick ass fool. My body tensed as I watched the dark entity marching towards me. I couldn't move and could not scream. My lungs were filled with seawater, but drowning was impossible. This would have been my preferred fate, but something far worse was coming for me. It is difficult for me to describe the horrific entity which emerged from the red mist. It took the physical form of a man, but I was sure this creature wasn't human. It walked on the seabed as if it belonged here, oblivious to the currents and intense pressure all around it. I couldn't see its face. In fact, I am not sure it even had a face. All I saw was a dark shape gliding towards me, a shadowy form which seemed to have total control over the hostile environment and was entirely focused upon me, an intruder in its realm. I couldn't make out its face, but when the entity came closer I saw its eyes, burning orb-like eyes which lit up the darkness, but instead of bringing light to the darkest places, its fire only brought terror to my heart. I struggled once more against the concrete shoes holding me firmly in place, while my screams were drowned out by the rushing water, and the monstrous entity kept on coming, its horrendous eyes burning through me as the darkness it brought with it consumed everything. That's when I awoke to the usual routine, screaming and cold sweat. I couldn't get back to sleep that night. I didn't dare. As soon as the sun rose, I rang Jack and arranged to meet him the same day. For better or for worse, I needed to hear the conclusion to his tale. My voice was shaking when I called Jack, and I'm sure he picked up on my discomfort over the phone. On this occasion, I invited him to meet in my own home. I normally would never do this with any source, but I justified the decision in my head, telling myself that it would be better to do in my home turf to ensure he didn't play any tricks when presenting his evidence. But in reality, I felt very unsettled and didn't feel comfortable leaving my home. It's crazy when you think about it. I faced some significant challenges and dangerous situations during my career, but the vivid nightmares I experienced recently had really shook me. Jack arrived in my apartment early, just after 9 a.m. as I recall. I tried to make myself look presentable, but I couldn't hide the bags under my eyes and cold sweat on my brow. Jack looked his usual self when he arrived at my front door, with a tough exterior barely hiding the sadness and vulnerability within him. My visitor gave me a suspicious look when he first saw me, but made no comment as I invited him inside. It was only when he was settled and seated in my living room that he asked me a question which was really more of a statement. "You've been having nightmares, haven't you?" Jack asked.
Oh, shit.
My jaw dropped as I stared into Jack's deadpan eyes. I experienced a combination of emotions, and a tense moment passed before I was able to speak. "How the hell did you know that?" I eventually asked. Jack nodded his head, his eyes dropping as he appeared to look guilt-ridden. "I'm sorry, pal," he replied. "I should have warned you this was a possibility. All of the staff in OSIU have suffered through them. I thought the nightmares wouldn't affect you because you were only hearing these accounts secondhand. I guess I was wrong." I took a deep breath as I collapsed onto my couch and tried to process what I had just been told. What Jack said didn't make any sense. How could the stories he told me infiltrate my subconscious to such a great extent? Surely it must be a coincidence, but even so, it was my job to discover and investigate uncomfortable truths, and I knew I had emotionally distanced myself to do this work. So why was I so angry with Jack for exposing me to this? I did my best to suppress my negative emotions and remain professional and hospitable. "Can I offer you a cup of coffee?" I asked my guest. Jack shot me with half a grin and winked before reaching into his jacket pocket, withdrawing a quarter bottle of whiskey.
Damn.
I thought we might take something stronger.
Yeah,
He
you
said-
see, I was about to say, that's probably why he drinks a lot of alcohol, because of those nightmares, dude.
Well, yeah, because when you drink, you don't really have nightmares, huh?
Nuh-uh.
You just knocked the fuck out, dude.
You go,
That's probably why. Like
you're turning off that little
like,
switch in your
yeah,
head.
that's like what that's what he uses as a coping mechanism.
Or like when I heard when you smoke weed, you don't have nightmares, or you don't
You don't dream.
dream, yeah.
I did my customary raising of my eyebrow before I glanced down at my watch. "It's a bit early, isn't it?" I said in a self-righteous tone. "Trust me, you're going to need a stiff drink by the end of this," Jack answered firmly. "Now I suggest you fetch us 2 glasses. He said, "Give me a drink, bitch."
I know, fuck.
Fetch us.
Yeah, fool.
I reluctantly pulled myself up from the couch and shuffled over to the kitchen. At first, I only took 1 shot glass from the cupboard, but then I thought again as I picked up a second. I set out the 2 glasses down on my coffee table beside Jack's bottle. By then, my hospitality had reached its limit as I demanded answers from my guest. "What have you got for me, old-timer?" I asked firmly. Jack smiled faintly, perhaps impressed by my straight-to-business attitude. "Well, my friend," he began, "you've done your due diligence, so I'm sure you're familiar with the bloop." The sound it makes when you take a shit, fool?
Bloop. Oh, yeah.
Mine goes blah.
Your shit goes splat, fool.
I'll go like,
Ooh.
Damn, right into the hole, fool?
Don't even gotta flush, fool. It goes
I
straight
know.
through. I thought for a moment before remembering where I had heard this odd name before. "Yes, I believe so." "Oh, sick, fool."
Damn, fool, you're just trying to get some of those chicken
know,
Big Macs
dude.
off.
Oh, those chicken Big Macs are calling my name, fool.
There you go.
"Yes, I believe so," I eventually answered as my exhausted brain retrieved the stored information. "I understand the bloop was an unidentified underwater sound detected by NOAA during the late 90s. "Correct," Jack confirmed coolly. "The sound was detected in the South Pacific in 1997 by a system of listening devices used to monitor undersea seismic activity, amongst other things. It can be categorized as an ultra-low frequency and high amplitude. Initially, there was a theory made public that the source was a living creature, one which would have much more powerful call of any known animal in the Earth's ocean. Officially, it remained a mystery, but in 2012, the NOAA stated that the sound was consistent with glacial movements and was most likely caused by ice calving. I laughed nervously as I believed I knew where this was going. Let me guess. The 2012 story was a cover-up, and there was really a gigantic creature swimming around out there. Jack didn't replicate my laughter, as he answered in a matter-of-fact tone. "Maybe so. I can't really say for sure. It wasn't my case, and so I didn't receive a full briefing, saying that it's quite possible the bloop came from a huge and yet undisclosed sea creature. We've discovered a number of animals in the depths which have never been revealed to the public, and it's safe to assume there are a lot more down there, waiting to be found." He paused for a moment to let that statement sink in. "But I'm not here to talk to you about sea monsters, not this time. I'm afraid I need to tell you about far greater threat, an ancient unspeakable evil we unwittingly unleashed upon our world, and it started with an unidentified underwater sound, one which led us to a very dark place." "Sounds ominous," I said in an attempt to make light of the situation, although my stomach was actually in knots. Jack sighed deeply, as if reluctant to continue, but eventually did talk. 2 years ago, our sound surveillance system detected an unidentified signal from the South Atlantic, about 300 miles south of Falkland Islands.
Oh shit. The fucking islands right there by Argentina.
Sick ass fool. Now we've picked up mysterious sounds before, of course, including the bloop, Most turn out to have natural origins, underwater avalanches, whale songs, and so forth. But this sound wasn't like anything we've detected before. The initial recording was scratchy and of poor quality, but one thing was clear: what we heard was a human voice, a female voice to be precise. My blood froze and my eyes widened as I stared at Jack in astonishment. "How is that possible?" I exclaimed in dismay. "We have no idea," Jack answered truthfully, "but the top brass wanted us to investigate. We sent a listening ship down to the location the signal was first detected, and I was part of the crew. We sailed south from Port Stanley, anchored in the icy Antarctic waters, and switched on our hydrophone array. And then we waited. I'll admit that I was skeptical and I believed we'd come home empty-handed, but we were only on location for a few hours before our senses picked up the signal as clear as day. With that, Jack withdrew his phone from his jacket pocket and with a shaking hand, his finger poised over the screen. For a tense moment, he pressed down and played the audio file. You know what that shit said? "I'm over here stroking my dick right now. I got a little shit on my dick."
Oh shit!
I sat forward and listened intently as the recording began with the familiar sound of rushing water. But after that moment, the sound was interrupted by a clear voice which spoke in perfect English. I don't know how to exactly describe the voice. It was clearly female, but monotone and emotionless, as if reading from a script. There was something chilling and foreboding about the vocalization. The woman's voice sounded eerily familiar, yet I couldn't quite place where I knew it from. I will provide a transcript of the communication here, but will exclude certain details for reasons that will become obvious. And what she said was this: "This is a message to the beings of the mortal realm. To those who inhabit the lands above us, we have the answers you seek. The mysteries of the land and the seas will be revealed." What followed was a series of numbers which Jack confirmed were coordinates and specific date and time, details which will not publicly reveal. "Come to this place and speak these words. Ex nihilo, what the fuck is nihilo nil fit? Sanguis." Oh, I'm speaking fucking, I was gonna say Arabic, fool. This is fucking
it's like Latin.
That's Latin, fool.
Oh, you scrolled. Oh.
I went too far?
Yeah, no, scroll up. There you go. There you go. Sanguis
There we go.
mos tibi.
Sanguis mos tibi, come to us and all will be revealed. Jack stopped the recording without delay, his body trembling and face pale. "I'm going to need that drink now," he said shakingly.
Damn.
He said, "Shit, fill it up."
Damn.
I complied without question, pouring my companion a large glass of whiskey and getting one for myself too.
Damn.
We shared a stiff drink before Jack composed himself enough to go on. "This message continued on a loop for about an hour," he explained, "at which point our microphones malfunctioned and we lost the signal. But that wasn't the scariest part. In a matter of minutes, the water temperatures rose dramatically. I mean, it sent from sub-zero to near boiling, like hell itself was rising to the surface. This should have been impossible, and yet I swear it's the truth." He paused for a moment to take another deep gulp of hard liquor. "As you can imagine, this event caused considerable fear amongst the crew, but thankfully the water temperature soon dropped and we wasted no time lifting our anchor and leaving the area. Our equipment was fried, but we had the audio recording which we brought home to our superiors." I nodded my head in fascination. Jack's story was insane, but I was hanging on his every word, and now I really did believe this old sea dog. I had many questions, but one in particular came to mind. The words in Latin, what do they mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's Latin.
Shit. I had a feeling like kind of sounds like it.
Jack delayed for a long time in tense moment before answering, although we were unable to meet eye as he whispered the translation. "Nothing comes from nothing, my blood for you." My heart almost stopped and I took a deep breath before asking my next question. "What did you do next?" Jack snorted before taking another drink.
Damn, he did some
Damn,
bull-
Bolsita real quick,
little
bro?
perico,
Oh shit.
I'll tell you what we should have done. Nothing. I argued strongly with the message should be ignored. We were dealing with powers we didn't understand, and there was a distinct possibility we were lured into a trap. The coordinates communicated the message were located right in the middle of the Challenger Deep. You're familiar with this region? Sure, I replied after a second's thought. The deepest point of the seabed located in the Marianas Trench, Western Pacific, I believe. The Trieste was the first sub to descend into its depths in 1960s. And didn't James Cameron do a solo descent?
James Cameron, Titanic, fool.
Yeah,
No.
Jack replied with a laugh. The Hollywood big shot went down to the deep sea Challenger in 2012. There's been a number of further descents in the years since. Although I doubt anyone will be going down anytime soon. Not after that. Well, that fool didn't hear about Ocean's Gate, fool?
I know. Shit.
Did they go there?
Nah, I don't. Did they go there?
Well, they went to go see the Titanic, right?
The
They
Atlantic-
did, right?
Like the Atlantic Ocean, though. Mariana's
Oh.
Trench is in the Pacific.
No, it's in the Atlantic.
No.
It's between America, the Americas and like Africa and Europe. Fool.
No.
I swear it is.
It's in Asia, fool. Asia. But remember, you're looking at it as if the world's flat, fool. Yeah, look at it.
The world is flat, fool.
Yeah, look at it as in the globe wise, fool. Remember, we're connected to
It is
Asia.
flat. It's flat as hell, fool.
Yeah, Jack replied. What the hell happened? I asked through trembling lips. Jack emptied his glass, pouring himself another before answering. Andy Smith was the former OSIU head who had recruited me. He was retired by this time. I won't name his replacement, but you can probably uncover his identity through some digging. Suffice to say, the new boss was a real arrogant son of a bitch and ambitious
hold
too.
on. Right here. The Mariana Trench is an oceanic trench located in the western Pacific Ocean. Told you, fool.
Then where the fuck did the Titanic crash then? In the Atlantic.
That's different, bro. He's just saying. They just
Those fools
compare-
didn't even go to the deepest spot and they still got
he's-
fucking imploded?
They're just talking about like James Cameron. Same time he did he went down in the ocean too.
That fool had a shitty ass submarine
fool.
and took 4 innocent people with him, dude.
I know, man.
Like I said, I argued against the expedition, and I wasn't the only one to do so. But in every generation and organization, there's some asshole who thinks he can take on the gods, who keeps pushing the boundaries and doesn't think about the consequences. And of course, this occasion was no different.
Oh, let's see. Can we stop it here? Can we pause it here? Because it's getting late, bro. I'm gonna go sleep soon. For sure. Yeah, bro.
All right, guys, we'll be continuing the rest of this creepypasta on the next episode. Like, subscribe, all that stuff,
Hit the bell.
The bell, ding, ding, ding.
and that's it.
Let's go.
Adios.
1, 2, 3. Vámonos, güey.
Fucking llanta,